bubble gum, and kick ass. All out of butter.
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? No. Why am I the only person that has that dream?
Did have shade.
Groovy.
Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
Let's get started. Let's see if I can throw this thing together. All right. All right, mic is on, thing is up. We're on Instagram. Things are flowing. Is it there? It's excellent. We're also, we're just live streaming everywhere right now. We have swapped out sanity for reality. Hold on. Why is this? I just want to switch back to theater mode all the time. And hi, chat room. Let me jump right in and say hello to you guys. Hello. Yeah, Herschel Walker, ambassador to the Bahamas. Honestly, Bahamana. Do-do-do-do-do. Bahamana. Do-do-do-do. Again, I don't know that war is going to break out between us and the Bahamas, but if there was ever a chance, it's now, thanks to Donald Trump. So I got to be honest, half of these things that he starts doing, are just absurd, so I'm not concerned at all. They're just embarrassing and stupid. And then other parts of it are just like a goddamn panic attack. Like they're like some real stuff could happen. Like he just does not care about serious things. And it's almost like he's got a grudge about everything serious. I think this is, Trump has, like a lot of maggots, I think, a real issue with complexity. Like they are suspicious of anything that doesn't have a binary solution. And so any gray zone at all is just like, there's obviously a plot to make this confusing because it couldn't just be that there are a lot of factors to focus on. It has to be that someone's got a hold of my brain with a Jewish space laser and they're squeezing it and they're forcing me to like come to grips with, there are variables unknown in a situation, and you have to set up laws and stuff to respond to those unknown variables. That's stupid. On, off, dumb, smart, rich, poor, evil, good, dun, dun. Like that seems to be. And then anywhere where somebody's like, yeah, well, there's also this factor you might want to think of. Like, you're with them. Like there's this body snatchers kind of response to anybody that offers a piece of information. Elon Musk is the same way. Like he keeps doing this. I want first principles. What he means is, how can I oversimplify something that's complex? And he's, I think in many ways, he's come to this because he built his companies on other people's work. Like Tesla was a real car company, and they'd worked out most of the kinks of an electric car long before he came along. SpaceX, NASA did all the work, and they're just kind of like, well, what can we build on top of that? Now that all the people have sacrificed their lives and done all the dangerous shit, now it's just a matter of like, window dressing. We're going to have to figure out how to get the rocket up and come back down. We know that part. So maybe we'll try and catch the leftover thing so we can save money on the recyclable, right? That idea. So anything where and Ramaswamy's attack on the farm bill and farm subsidies as two separate things, and disaster relief, all that stuff is kind of it just shows that underneath they really have contempt for anything that doesn't. It's like serves us, doesn't serve us. Hold on, is this running now? Hold on one second. I don't even know if they're up looking at something.
It's about $45.
Nope, they're not. Never mind. Talking Point or Turning Points USA has a big festival or something, and it's supposed to be live, and it is not. It is not. Now, there's a lot going on, and I don't have shows tomorrow. Sorry, because I will be traveling all day tomorrow. I leave at like 8 a.m. and I don't get to Kentucky till 11 p.m. tomorrow night because I have to bank shot through a bunch of airports and pick up my kid, and that's a lot. So yeah, so wish me luck. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. This is Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. Rob Glenn is in Vegas right now. Although, is he in the chat? He very well might be at this point. But hopefully after the show tonight, I'll be able to like swing by and say hi to him before he flies out later. Although I think he's got like a red eye back to Chicago. And anyways, so we'll talk more about this. I'd love to, quite frankly, have Rob Glenn come on maybe on the Saturday show, first hour as second guest, the second half of the thing, and talk a little bit about AI stuff as part of Saturday radio, because he lives in Chicago. Root design is in Chicago. I'm just saying, might be a good thing. On top of that, I'm thinking about it. Are we going to Kentucky with you? Yes, you are. I will be doing my show from there, and I will be meeting up with Cliff Schechter and doing a live show from there. So, lots to talk about. December 26th is your birthday. Happy birthday early, if I don't say anything, because it's Christmas and we're driving, I think, to Cleveland on Christmas Day. That'll be fun. Said no one ever. The CR was killed again. Yeah, they're trying to vote for it. Again, I don't know why anybody thought this would be any less of a shit show. And, Trump's trying to add a kill the debt ceiling to it. And they're going to need more Democratic votes to get stuff passed in the new Congress than they need right now, because there's a bunch of Freedom Caucus morons that won't vote for anything, that just want it to all burn down. So I gotta say, I'm excited. This is pretty. Here, hold on. Hold on. So I don't know if you know this. Let's jump. This is really short. Let me show you something. By the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Here we go. Check this out. The title alone. I feel like I should owe you. I owe you guys a Christmas gift right before I even go away, and there'll be more to come. But this one's pretty solid. Chip Roy asked about Trump calling for a primary challenge against him. What did I say, folks? How much does this asshole have to suck up to Donald Trump before he's inside the club? It's a trick question. It doesn't matter. He's never inside the club. He's forever saddled with Ted Cruz, with his association with Ted Cruz. He's a weenie. And nobody likes him, and he's a dick. And because it's Texas, he's full of self-importance, and he's in a marginally hyper red section of Austin is where his district is. I would like to also point out, if I may, that he's choosing, instead of going down the stairs, to use the ramp that's created by the ADA. This is an aftermarket design, as you can tell, to make sure that people who need wheelchairs can go down this, and he's using it. I'm just saying. So next time you hear him bitch about the ADA, I just want to see that he's using it. Anyways, this is Chip Roy is asked point blank about Trump's call for a primary.
Reaction to Trump saying that you should be primaried?
We're still there trying to solve the problem.
Have you spoken to Trump? You have no reaction to his posts, his long posts about you?
I mean, I haven't even been able to. All we've been doing is working on the column. I saw that something was said, but I don't know. We're in there still trying to figure out how to get this done.
Do you have a stance on negotiations?
What's that?
Do you have a stance on including debt ceiling in the CR, or raising it or eliminating it?
Yeah, you can't lift the debt ceiling or suspend the debt ceiling without actual structural reform to save money. That's the bottom line. If you're just going to go add, it's like limiting, increasing your credit card limit while you don't do anything to actually constrain spending. That's just the reality. So, whatever. But look, the uniparty is going to uniparty, and that's they currently. In this
Oh, damn. Damn, the uniparty's gonna. Trump's in the uniparty now. Congratulations. Chip Roy fires the first shot across the bow that Trump is no longer MAGA America first, and he's just another sap bureaucrat in the uniparty. Because Trump has called for the end of the debt ceiling. He wants to eliminate it entirely. Which means that's worse than just raising it. It just means it no longer exists. So there is genuinely no limit that they could use. There's only two tools that Republicans use: the government funding ending on a certain date, and the debt ceiling is the leverage that they have used against spending forever. And Democrats are like, yeah, get rid of the debt ceiling. It's a bunch of shit. And Trump's on board with it now. Holy God. Again, can we just think about this for a second, if you will? Think about the fact that Donald Trump, in the last little bit, besides killing the funding bill before the holiday for no other reason than just to fuck up the government for a couple of weeks or crash the economy and buy the dip, I suppose. Because you could do that. You could argue that this is a form of not, I guess, insider trading. But it's definitely disaster capitalism. But the idea is that he would, you undercut things, and it's going to be righted again. So by fucking with it, you can maybe make the Dow take a dive, maybe a few thousand points. You could scoop up some stocks and day trade your way through it. And you could, if you played your cards right as a Republican president, because Dems won't do this. Dems will often. Maybe and again, this is taking it word that this is what Pelosi or somebody does. They'll invest in stuff that they know is going to do well or is going to get a government contract. That's the idea. That's the worst I've ever heard of anybody in government doing. But Republicans are not above, and clearly Trump is not above, creating artificial crises that will affect the market, buying the dip during the market, allowing the crisis to pass, averting it, even priming the pump to drive it up higher, selling, and then rinse, repeat. But the idea that Chip Roy, that Trump has called, he hasn't even been sworn in, and he's calling for Chip Roy to be primaried. What, do they got a 2-vote majority in the House? One, maybe, but as of January 6th? This is sweet.
And that's what they want to do. They just want to get a blank check.
Do you think Trump will be part of the uniparty then, if he's also supporting a debt limit increase?
He's not supporting a debt limit increase, lady. He's supporting the elimination of a debt ceiling at all. That is the greatest increase ever. Hi, we're calling from Visa. We just want to let you know that your credit card limit has been raised to infinite. What's that in percentage? Well, it's beyond percentages because it's infinite. It is no longer finite. There is no finite limit on it. Therefore, you can't even measure it. You know what I mean? It's like how far the universe goes on. We honestly an infinite number of things, and you can't have a number of infinities because infinity itself is a post-numeral concept.
Right now, we have a CR on the floor that is supported by Democrats and appropriators. And so the question is going to be, if a CR is that, if a debt ceiling increases attitude, that's the question.
So Trump is saying you're getting in the way of a Republican victory for cheap publicity. What's your reaction to that? I
haven't been able to read. All we're doing is trying to talk about how to get
hey, asshole, she didn't ask you if you've had time to read it all. She quoted him. Shall we take a look? Hold on. Let's see. Trump statement on Trump, Chip Roy, primary. Let's just do that. Trump threatens primary challenge against Chip Roy, Republican obstructionists. This was, you could just, it's just lovely. It's just, can I just say, it's lovely. Come on. Oh shit. President, okay. Getting in the way of Trump's wish to raise the debt ceiling as House Republicans scramble to keep the government. The very unpopular congressman from Texas, Chip Roy, is getting in the way, as usual, of having yet another great Republican victory, all for the sake of some cheap publicity for himself. Republican obstructionists have to be done away with. Jesus Christ. Our country is far better off closing up for a period of time than it is agreeing to things the Democrats want to force upon us. Oh, dear. In another post, Trump called Roy just another ambitious guy with no talent. He said he hoped some talented challengers are getting ready in the great state of Texas to go after Chip in the primary. He won't have a chance. Oh, man. I feel bad I don't have any popcorn. By the way, you think Trump's going to get any more even keel once he's sworn in? Now, Roy's easily won his election since Congress 2010. Again, all of his elections since 2019 is like simmer down. Remember the House Freedom Caucasians? Roy has been outspoken about the need to cut government. This is, let's see. Chip Roy bashes government funding plan, says Congress has a Christmas tree bill. Like, yeah, he's against the bill itself, but they got to pass it because they don't want to shut the Congress down. Tough noogies. I don't know what to tell you. Jesus. And then the other thing is this is Newsweek asking him the question. I think this might be the same hallway footage that we see here. Why it matters. Chip Roy. What to know. Yeah, I can't see the footage of this, but it's probably
Hold on, so we can actually cut spending.
Do you plan to talk to him to smooth things over?
I don't even know what we're talking about. I got to look at whatever was put out there, but
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what she just told you, dum-dum. Please, God, I know there's no way that in a minute 40 clip in the next 20 seconds she's going to read the whole thing to him. And I mean, can we just have a show where people read tweets to Republicans or truths to Republicans that Trump has posted about them to their face?
Ineffective people like Chip have been dismissed as utterly unknowledgeable as to the ways of politics and as to make...
She's doing it! Oh, shit! She's gonna go for it! Oh, this is sweet. Ineffective people. She's just straight up reading it. Like, screw him. That's hilarious. Hold on. Run that by me again, dum-dum.
Chip have been dismissed as utterly unknowledgeable as to the ways of politics and as to making America great again. Put America first and go for victory.
We're working right now on how to actually cut spending, which is what the voters sent me to Washington to do. So that's what we're working on.
Ouch. So should I relay that to Mr. Trump, shall we? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Kids, let me tell you something. One of the things that I've been telling everybody is, as everybody's been pretty good about not complying in advance, not obeying in advance, that part of that is also not assuming victory on the part of your opponent just because they won, especially with the narrow margin that Trump ultimately had. I'm not going to buy into this mandate horseshit that he's selling just because they say it loud enough when we all materially know it wasn't true. Quit it. I'm not going to act like this asshole has got his thumb on the pulse of America. The voter turnout was down from 2020, obviously. The margin was less than Hillary Clinton. He half these, when you got people like, how could I change my vote and what's a tariff being looked into, like, that is not a situation where he nailed it. If it was a failure on the part of the Democratic candidate or the Democratic messaging machine, maybe. But ultimately, it's not that he got, they don't have 60 votes in the Senate. They don't have a giant margin in the House. And Trump won by 1.5%. And everybody going, oh my God, he's going to, everything he wants to do, they're just going to let him. No, they're not. Because a lot of these people want to have a career long after he's gone. Especially people like Besant and others. Now, do I think there'll be adults in the room? Do I think they're devoid of stupid ideas? No. Do I think he'll keep them in spite of the fact that they, scuttle his plans? No. But do I think it'll be just a kind of like a running of the bulls? Absolutely not. Yeah, 4 years of gridlock. Exactly. So I gotta say, I'm in no way panicking about this. I will save my real concern for real crises, individually and politically, that happen over the next 4 years to people specifically. Because I got news for you. There's no situation where Donald Trump kills the ACA without a replacement. Because, again, the vast majority of those 24 million people who got insurance because of it, red states. So the idea that somehow we're going to, Republicans are going to aid and abet every aspect of whatever this dipshit wants to do is a bit ridiculous. Yes, Brooklyn, New York, I will tell you when to panic. But now is not the time. It's just, and again, that in and of itself is a way of complying in advance, of obeying in advance, and I'm not going to do it. Why would I? Especially because the material reality doesn't bear it out. Yeah, stay calm and mega on, right? Here's the thing. We didn't get a chance to cover Trump's stupid presser. So I want to dive into some of it. Now, we've watched as this guy went, Trump is the double down president, so I'm going to double down too with 100,000 jobs or something like that, which is just whatever, just investment in them kissing his ass. And they think their return, he'll throw them government contracts worth $200 billion. So, and then they'll cut all those jobs from the federal government and whatever. So he brings up this other guy, I think, that right after that, we watched little clips of that guy talking. So I figure we could skip straight to whatever the hell he's saying. And I don't think we've seen what this part was.
It's amazing. It's a great gentleman, a great leader and a great investor. So to have that offer made, and we have so many companies.
A soft investor from SoftBank with a soft and gentle touch.
Coming in now that will be announcing, or that will announce themselves. We don't have to be with them to do it.
Yeah, they'll just do it on their own. They'll just walk out to a street corner with a bullhorn and just go, I'm investing with trillions in America, MAGA. How's that? Do I get a government contract now?
They'll be announcing, and as I said, small business optimism took a 41-point jump. 41 points. It went up 41 points. That's unheard of.
Yeah, that's because Republicans were all lying about their position. They were all in a panic. Oh, my God, we're going to turn into a communist country. So the minute you get reelected, that's what they think. It doesn't mean the situation's going to be better. It's because that 41% were the people who are like, God damn it, I got more job opportunities and wage growth than I've had in a decade and a half, and we got a new union contract, but I don't know. I just feel weird.
And that's the biggest, they think, in recorded history, but they know at least a minimum of 39 years, so that's great. But on behalf of the American people, I want to thank Massa for his faith in what's happening with our country and what's happening with the
what's happening now, Raj?
world. There's a whole light over the entire world.
There is a light over I'm going to declare myself a light over the entire world. I'm going to go to the Temple on the Mount and say, basically, I'm God, and we'll just call Jesus' bluff.
People, some reporters, and speaking to them, they said, it actually is true. A couple of...
Yeah, there's a light over the world. I mean, obviously, it's, largely there's a bunch of explosions happening at any given time, so...
Some of them are not necessarily friends of mine, but they said it is actually true that there's a light shining over the world. We're trying.
Yes, it's called the sun, and it's visible most days. There's a light check. I looked at it once and I couldn't see it because maybe it was because of the eclipse. I was looking right at it.
Trying to help very strongly in getting the hostages back, as you know, with Israel and
Yes, trying to help very strongly with strongly worded words.
the Middle East. We're working
Oh, that's where it is. Where was I always forget where Israel is.
very much on that. We're trying to get the war stopped, that horrible war that's going on in Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine. We're going to.
Why did you mention Ukraine twice but Russia only once? Gee.
We've got a little progress. It's a tough one. It's a nasty one.
No. Little progress. It's a tough one. Fuck you. Fuck you. You said 24 hours after the election, dipshit. You didn't say, oh, this is a tough one. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if anybody can shut this. Well, I guess after the election, I think we'll make a little progress. Jesus Christ. I'll look. Can I take these things and make a time machine? You know how everybody's like, if you could go back in time, would you kill Hitler or something? No. You know what I'd go do? I'd go back in time and show this video to Trump voters.
It's nasty. People are being killed at levels that nobody's ever seen. It's very
Yeah, they kind of have.
level fields, and the only thing that stops a bullet is a body, a human body.
All right, I don't know what that means. That is so weird. Like, I swear to God, like, are they showing him clips of World War Z or something? It's so stupid.
And the number of soldiers that are being killed on both sides is astronomical. I've never seen anything like that. And
Yeah, well, you avoided service in Vietnam and stuff, so you wouldn't be anywhere near that kind of thing, I guess.
And rapidly, I get reports every week. And
Rapidly. It's not so much the death, it's the speed of the death.
it's not even, it's like just they're going down. Nobody's seen anything like it.
Have they seen anything like it, though? Is there anything that people have seen that might be like it that they've seen? I don't know if anybody's ever seen anything like it. I mean, they may have, but is it like it?
It's a very flat surface, a very flat land. That's why it's great.
That's right. A war in Kansas way more dangerous than a war in the Rockies because they're all standing in a row like a bunch of fucking Brits in the Revolutionary War. Everyone's wearing red coats. They just walk out in the middle of the field and then fire at each other. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna find out this asshole watched The Postman last week and thinks that's war footage.
Farming land.
Farming land.
It's the breadbasket for the world, actually.
Well, for Europe, I don't know the world.
But it's very flat, and there's nothing to stop a bullet but
the bread or
the body. There's no protection, no nothing, and
he has no trees, no buildings. Yeah, if the bullet doesn't hit someone and like a soldier, it just keeps going across Ukraine until it finds someone. Motherfucker. The worst part is he thinks this is profound. Like, he thinks he's being like a poetic leader. He thinks he sounds like Churchill.
it's what's happening there is far worse than people are reporting for both sides. So we're going to do our best. That we
but one side's doing worse, and also they're the ones that started it. So their losses sting a little more because at least the Ukrainians are dying for something. The Russians are just dying for Putin's fever dream. That's got to suck.
We've been doing our best, and we'll see what happens. But
I don't know if you have. If that's your best, I thought your best was 24 hours. This is definitely your D game, C game, somewhere around there.
Since the election, I've been working every day to put the world at ease a little bit, to get rid of the wars. We had no wars when I left office, and now
that's because COVID had shut the entire world down. But we were still in Afghanistan, and we still had troops in Syria. And like, what are you talking about? We don't have any wars now. We don't. The America, we're engaged in like peacekeeping stuff or whatever, but we don't have a declared war. After Afghanistan, we're out. That was still going on.
Oh, it's the whole world is blowing up.
It is. That must be the light over the world that you're seeing.
But there's great optimism, and
yeah. Anytime the world is completely blowing up, there's optimism. The nukes will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom.
So that by SoftBank, starting on day one, will.
Yeah, the world's blowing up and people are dying at a level no one's ever seen before. But hey, SoftBank, give it up. $100 billion. We got a $36 trillion debt and a $29 trillion economy, but $100 billion. Thanks for your drop in the bucket, buddy. The money you would have put in anyways, because where the fuck you gonna put it? China?
Implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Never go full prosperity. Yeah.
To be a moron.
Yeah.
To be a moron. To be moronical. An imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
Never go full prosperity.
And to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we
already have that.
We had just a short time ago.
Yeah, middle of COVID.
We had it in my term. We had the greatest economy that the world had seen. We were blowing away everybody. Our country was.
Yeah, we still are. We have been the top economy forever, and even the idea that China was at our nipping at our heels was an illusion. Stupid.
Doubling up on China, doubling up on everybody, and everybody knows it.
No, we're doubling up on China. China was collapsing, and people were finally realizing that their economy is not $18 trillion. It's closer to $6. Thanks, Joe Biden.
And then we had to slow it down with COVID, unfortunately, at the end.
Yeah, you had to downshift.
But even then, I gave it back with a substantial increase of the stock market, bigger than it was pre-COVID, so it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, what's it like now compared to when you left? Pretty amazing.
Already preparations are underway to slash massive numbers of job-killing regulations, yeah,
you got to eliminate them.
Eliminating 10 old regulations for every new one. You put a new regulation on, you have to get rid of 10.
Okay, yeah, sure. So if if a nut on a crossbeam bracing angle stint has a 3/4 inch bolt, and that's been we're gonna change that to we got to upgrade it to a 4/5. Then we're gonna have to kill a bunch of regulations that keep trains full of toxic chemicals from flying through Indiana without any brakes. Thank God. Well, we had to change the regulation on the size of that bolt, so we got to kill a bunch of other things, and that just means some lead in your water. What do you want? There's a regulation we have to check to make sure that there's not fecal material in new syringes that are sold to doctors. So we scrapped that one because we had to change the thing on the 4/5 nut, right?
And we'll be able to do it. And that was about the percentage we had.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Cut more regulations than any president has ever cut by far.
Yeah, and then we had a giant pandemic, and we had more deaths than anybody but China, and we had trains crashing into rural communities full of toxic chemicals. You don't think that's related? You cut a couple regulations, and then months or years later, the bill comes due. Doesn't occur to you? No?
Actually, by approximately 5 times. Some of those regulations, unfortunately, were put back on, but.
Yes, they put 90% of regulations that we have on during the Biden administration. For example, like the regulation where you can't unless you. It's a regulation where if you do something, you can't unless you do something first, right? Or no, if you do that at all, you can't do it anymore. No, if you do it before you do the other thing, then you have to pay a fine if they find out you did the thing before it and it fails, but only if it fails in certain situations. I see. Gotcha. Okay. That regulation, yeah, Biden was really adamant about putting that one back in.
We'll catch up very quickly. We'll catch up with it.
Because it's all fantasy. Again, this is like, as soon as we get in, we're going to get rid of 10 million migrants right away. How? We'll stop pretending they're here. You know how I said there were 20? There's actually 10. Ta-da! Look, I cut the number in half. Trump math, everyone.
One of the things I'd like to ask the Biden administration, as you probably heard,
is did you take out the Diet Coke button or did you reprogram it to vanilla ice cream?
There are two events that took place. We're talking about a friendly takeover, a friendly transition, as they like to say. This is a friendly transition, and it is, but...
No, a peaceful transition. The friendly part isn't necessary.
There are two events that took place that I think are very terrible. One is that if people don't come back to work, come back into the office, they're going to be dismissed. And somebody in the Biden administration gave a 5-year waiver of that so that for 5 years people don't have to come back into the office. It involved 49,000 people. For 5 years, they don't have to go. They just signed this thing. It's ridiculous.
Okay, like what? What's their job? I mean, the federal workforce got millions of people in it, so 49,000. They must be in one particular thing. Yeah, you know what? Stupid me, I can probably look it up. Let's see. Biden waiver work from home 5 years. Something like that? What do you think? Think I could probably find it? Trump will fight Biden remote work deal. Union vows to fight back. Trump plans to fire federal workers who won't work from home. Key unions fight back. Biden secures federal work from home deal through 2029. That's what this part is. Look, so here we go. Biden secures federal work from home deal through 2029. The Biden administration has reached a new agreement with federal employees unions. The agreement will preserve existing telework agreements until 2029. Reports the deal impacts some... Shit, get down here. What are you doing? Social Security Administration has concluded a significant agreement. The agreement will preserve existing telework agreements until 2029. So if it's for Social Security Administration. Reports the deal impacts some 42,000 SSA employees, creating a long-term foundation for remote work standards. The contract was executed before former SSA Commissioner Martin O'Malley's exit. It delineates safeguards for remote work agreements that will last several years. These provisions will persist irrespective of alterations in agency leadership. Union leadership considers this agreement an essential instrument to preserving staffing numbers. The contract seems to mitigate elevated employee turnover by ensuring stability in employment arrangements, because they have to hire. If everybody has to come into an office, they have a hard time recruiting people, but they can semi-out. This is basically the semi-contracting out of people who will work from home, especially when it's fucking computer work. So it's a bunch of Social Security number crunchers can work from home. Why do they have to be in the office in the first place? Here's the big question. Why do you want the taxpayer to pay for federal workers to go to a building to do work they could do from home? You do realize we're not paying for like the rent in the building in that case. Or you could repurpose a building that you have for other workers that do need to work together. This saves money and helps with employee retention. Again, he's like the evil Dabney Coleman from 9 to 5.
So it was like a gift to a union, and we're going to obviously be in court to stop it. The other thing is...
Yeah, explain why.
Really terrible. We spent a tremendous amount of money on building the wall. The wall was designed specifically by the Border Patrol.
He keeps saying this because he doesn't like what it looks like, and he wanted a big, like, Great Wall of China thing where people could walk along it and go, "That's where the brown people live." You're gonna go, yeah. You can even they'll post you dinner up here, and you can sit here and just. And know you're an American, just watch all the poor people. It's awesome. And they even have fapping curtains. But they were like, he gave me this shitty slat fence. Boo.
It's very hard to climb.
Not impossible, but it's very hard. It's either the heat or like he wants obviously hot oil on it every day.
They need to have see-through. They need it to be.
They do need to have see-through. They were going to use transparent aluminum, but Scotty wasn't available. Scotty, I don't believe it, but they haven't come up with transparent aluminum. Could you come down here and use a computer from 1991 and show them the molecular, whatever it is for it? I'll be in the bar. Kirk out.
Steel, because you can't get. It's very powerful steel. It's very
powerful steel. Is it hard steel? Most steel is very doughy, I found. You're not using that balsa steel, are you?
hard steel.
Okay. Yeah, the hard steel, as opposed to that, that marzipan steel just doesn't work at all. Hard steel, great. Yeah. When did they invent that?
It's a special type of steel, but
it is. You're right. It is a special. Hard steel is a special type of steel, as all steel is. When it's not in what its molten form. They wanted hard steel. I was like, can't we just heat steel to a molten level and have it pouring over and over into a trough where it reheats itself? So that if anyone touches it, they're burned like the Terminator. You just see all these like Mexicans going, gung, 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 gung. Not that shitty rubbery steel. Oh, God. He's so stupid. I don't even know. Hold on. I gotta have my clip button open. This is just terrible. There we go. In here, where is it? Whew, that's a lot. Anyways, we'll clip that on Twitch. Somebody clip that on Twitch. Woo. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of this.
Very, very hard to cut.
Maybe you need a sharper butter knife. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, in general, man, I've been working on this steel all day. What have you been using? I don't know, this Fisher Price handsaw I got. It's made out of plastic. It feels relatively hard, but I don't know. It's just not. I'm not making any progress.
Inside the steel, as you know, we pour concrete, and that's a grade 10 concrete, which is a very strong concrete. Very.
Yes, I'm sick of this like shitty, doughy steel and concrete. The big gay concrete and steel that was all floppy, right? Jesus Christ.
As though you were building about a 60-story building. It's very powerful concrete. They've made tremendous technology advances in the word.
Or technological.
Concrete, who would think that? But
sorry. In the word concrete?
Technology advances in the word concrete, who would...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've been working, scientists have been working round the clock on the word concrete. They've been like, shouldn't it be spelled with a K? No, scientifically speaking, it's a con. It's not like it's anti-Crete. Maybe it should be. I don't know. Should we spell it like Crete, the country, or put two E's together because of dum-dums like this? Yeah, science has worked very hard on the word concrete. Fuck me. It's going to be a long 4 years.
Think that, but I know that from the
2
construction industry. Today,
he knows that from the construction industry. Scientists have been working very hard on the word construction as well.
What you can do with concrete is incredible. So we have a very strong concrete, and then we have a rebar. We put rebar in.
Oh, this thing. Rebar. Fabulous. Do tell.
The concrete, and the rebar likewise is very hard to cut. So it's a very expensive process.
Yeah, but once you've cut through the outside steel, wouldn't the concrete be easier to cut than the outside steel? Even, I mean, as hard as that steel is, and then rebar is going to be softer even than the hardest steel of steel that is not normally hard. This is fucking goofy.
It's a very expensive wall, and then we put a anti-climb plate on the top. You saw that.
Yeah, it worked like a charm. Yeah. You know, the best part about it is the anti-climb plate turned into a make it easy to blow over plate because it catches the wind.
And I didn't like the look of it, but then when I watched, we had people.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be useful. It's supposed to be aesthetically pleasing, as any barrier against an entire race is supposed to be. That's why I never got into burning crosses. I just thought it looked bad on the lawn.
Testing. We had mountain climbers actually testing.
Well, maybe you should try get some wall climbers, because apparently they had no problem with it. Maybe maybe it's harder to climb than a wall. Maybe get those. How about the dude that dresses as Spider-Man and climbed the Empire State Building? Like, I'm guessing he could make quick work of it.
And they were not able to get over the anti-climb plate, so I said, all right, I guess we're going to put it on.
Yeah, because we're worried about this. My worry is all the caravans of mountain climbers with their long mustaches and their rucksacks and their yodeling and their pickaxes. I'm just concerned that they're going to kill Americans.
That plate on top, which I...
Yeah, we assumed it was on the top. You can put an anti-climb plate on the bottom. It just give them something to step up on. Oh, God.
I never loved the look of it, but...
that's sad. You should love the look of your barrier wall.
It works so unbelievably well, you have to do it. So we spent a lot of money on building it, and we have hundreds of miles that we put up. A lot of people don't realize, but we did 571 miles of wall. That's why we had such good records, in addition to the fact that Mexico helped us with their military. They kept people out.
They didn't keep people out with the military. They guarded the construction, because it would have looked bad if somebody had shot like construction workers on American territory because you opened up the entire space. Again, the creation of the wall versus a regular barrier like a chain link fence or something like that along a ragged piece of ground necessitated the creation of an access road on the Mexican side of the wall, just like it does on the American side of the wall. And that made it easier to traverse. And now all people have to do is walk to the end of it and walk around. You big dum-dum. They don't have to climb over it. There's now a flat road on the outside of the wall that goes all the way to the end. It didn't used to. It does now.
And they were actually very good under the past leader. But now we had...
Oh, Mexico.
We ordered an additional 200 miles of wall. It's very expensive.
It is, and it was just laying there because we had no place to put it, because we had run out of ground that we owned, and he wasn't willing to have the fight about eminent domain. But please have it this time. Donald Trump, by the way, for those of you in the cheap seats and maggots, hi. Welcome. How are you? Come on in. Come on in. Is the first president since the Alamo to give Mexico U.S. territory, because some of the areas where the wall had to be built moved it further in. And then now he wants to slice private territory because of the nature of where the wall is versus where these people private territory is. He wants to use eminent domain to cross their property to continue the wall, which would give some of their private land to Mexico. Great work. Fucking brilliant.
And now it's about double the price of what it would have been 6 years ago.
Well, I mean, because, all the strong concrete is sold out, and all we have left is this spongy shit.
And the administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that...
And no buyers. Is it still there? If they're still trying to sell it, I mean, they better hurry.
We're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act.
Yeah, except it's not.
They know we're going to use it.
Why? You didn't use it last time. And by the way, you have to have the right to use it on the land you're going to put it on is the problem that they ran up against.
And if we don't have it, we're going to have to rebuild it. And it'll cost...
Yeah, and you can't get any better than hard steel and concrete and rebar.
double what it cost years
Why?
ago, and that's hundreds.
Oh, because DOGE is in there, and they'll jack up the price of everything because they want a finder's fee on every contract. Sure.
Of millions of dollars.
Right, because now that DOGE and Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are involved, the price of everything's going to go up. Yeah, no question. I mean, you're not going to be able to negotiate with anybody. Jesus Christ.
You're talking about a lot of wall.
I am. You're right. Well, I'm not. I'm talking about a lot of slat fence.
I built much more than I said I was going to build, but then after...
No, you built a lot less than you said you were going to build, and Mexico didn't pay for it.
It was built. I said, we can do some more because it's sort of like water people flow through.
Yeah, because you created an access road so they could walk around it. That's the flowing part. You literally created the fucking canals.
And that will pretty much really take care of it. And
pretty much really. That's leadership.
What happened is they just, as you see, they're trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar.
And they're not getting any takers? Maybe they should go down to 2.5.
And that's really...
not a lot of money. I feel like I should buy some. I mean, like, what's the... How much is this shit? Do I have to come down and pick it up in a truck? Is it one of those kind of like... it's like I always see an upright video game on eBay or something, but it's in fucking El Paso, and you have to drive down in a truck and get it, and you're like, I really do want an original Asteroids game, and it looks like it's in good shape. And they're selling it for very cheap, but by the time I get it here, fuck that.
That has nothing to do with a smooth transition. That has to do with...
It's a peaceful transition. They're not responsible for smooth, you bumpy fuck.
People really trying to stop our nation.
From?
And all it means really is that we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more, not even talking about the time.
Why? I thought you could get this done under budget anyways. You don't have, there's not leftover funds in there?
The time would be pretty long.
Oh, really? It's not going to happen in 24 hours right away? It's so fast it'll make your head spin within the first 100 days?
We'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars more on building the same wall that we already have. And people have already come back to us that have deals at 5 cents and 4 cents, and one guy at 3 cents on the dollar.
And he wants to sell it to you for 10 cents on the dollar? And double his, triple his money? Why don't you just do that? Here's a good idea. Why don't you go, wait a minute. Why don't you go and ask to just buy it back? And rather than make the new shit, if you're like, what are they using it for?
And they offered to sell it.
Oh, wait, by the way, I don't want anybody to think for a second that this is actually true. Dude's talking out of his ass.
Back to us at more money than it cost us to build.
And you, of course, said yes.
Substantially. Can you believe it?
No, I can't. You're weird. What the fuck are you talking about? I got it for 3 cents on the dollar. I'll sell it to you for $1.03 on the dollar. What?
So they make a deal with the United States to buy it for pennies. And then they call us and they say, do you want to buy it back?
So they have your number. That's not surprising.
We'll sell it back to you for hundreds of dollars a foot.
A foot?
Hundreds of dollars, from pennies to hundreds of dollars a foot.
Wouldn't something that big cost hundreds of dollars a foot anyways? It's pretty enormous.
And we can't let this take place.
No. We'll give you 10 cents a foot.
Now we're going to go. I spoke with the Attorney General of Texas. I spoke to the senators of Texas. I spoke to a lot of people, and hopefully they'll be able to stop. We're going to be, having a restraining order. But just think about how ridiculous it is. And
yeah, again, I got to. This is all fucking bullshit. I wait. Look, I look forward to. Please, I don't know what you're waiting for. File an injunction right now. Why isn't Abbott doing it on your behalf?
This is just people that don't want this country to succeed. And this has nothing to do with...
Well, then why did they let the stock market get this high, or wages rise, or like bring inflation down in the first place, or get people vaccinated? Why bother? If you want to wreck it, it came pre-wrecked. All they had to do was go puh, 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 puh. Everything would have fallen apart. If that's the goal, they fucked up a prime opportunity.
With Democrat or Republican, this has to do with common sense. We won on common sense, and this is maybe one of the most egregious.
So Americans have a 1.5% margin of common sense? Is that the argument now?
Just examples I've seen. So the people that are buying it or trying to buy it are trying to make a deal with us to sell it back at hundreds of times more than we paid. And this is all.
Well, yeah, again, if it's going to cost you double to get new shit, why would they charge? How does it make sense that they think you're going to pay hundreds of times more? What are you talking about? Like, this is so dumb. This is like, I can't get a grip on where he actually thinks this math is coming from.
All because the Democrats. So I'm asking today Joe Biden to please stop selling the oil. We're going to use that to create a strong barrier. And it worked. That's why our numbers were so good.
No, COVID, which is why your numbers went down, stupid.
Really worked, and it worked.
No, it didn't.
Well,
if it did, then why if it worked while you were in office, why didn't it stop people coming in after? It clearly didn't work. I mean, all the places he went to in El Paso and these other places had the wall.
And it's very expensive to do. And I'm asking Joe Biden to stop his people from giving it away. It's something that people can't even believe is happening.
You're right. I don't believe it. You're very weird.
So hopefully Joe will be able to stop it. We'll soon unleash American energy, and this will be done at levels not seen before.
But will it be done at levels not seen before, that no one's ever seen before, and levels like no one's ever seen before?
Doing quick approvals for pipelines, drilling, and other infrastructure.
Yeah. An oil field in every preschool playground. That's the goal.
Be clean energy, and we'll bring in the price of electricity, and we're going to bring it down fast. We're also going to create...
We'll bring it in, bring it down, turn it over.
Clean coal. Clean coal is something that has really taken over.
It's really taken over. It has. Thank God we're finally getting back to coal.
Coal that will last for over 1,000 years. We have so much coal.
Yeah, not. I mean, obviously, the mine workers' lifespans will go down.
And with a process, it becomes clean coal.
It totally. Yeah. What's the process? What do? You use a loofah on it,
very
or
powerful energy?
Yeah, you use like one of those Brillo pads or something.
Unlike wind.
Yes, wind is very dirty, especially when it's downwind from a coal plant.
It's very, very powerful, and we're going to be doing a lot of clean coal for the people of West Virginia and others, Wyoming, so many states. We have great states, and they'll be happy to hear it, but we're going to be...
They will. They'll be happy to hear it and stuff. And people will just line up to get those good old-fashioned coal jobs again. Why would they, and again, probably because they've lost their other jobs and they'll need all the money they can. So
very much into clean coal. I don't ever use the word coal. I use the word clean coal.
Okay, that's 2 words, dummy. Clean coal is not, it's not even a hyphenate, you fucking weirdo.
And I'll keep my promise to pass historic tax cuts for American families, workers, and businesses that create jobs in America.
Yes, and unpaid for tax cut that will balloon the deficit. Yeah.
As you know, we're giving tax cuts if they do it here. We brought it down from 44%, 42%. In some cases, it was 39%. We brought it all the way down to 21%. And now we're bringing it down to 15%, but only if they make their product, their car, or whatever they're doing in the United States and the U.S. And people are thrilled. I've had the smartest people on Wall Street call me. They said, where'd you get that idea?
Also, first of all, yeah, you dumbass. So here's the idea. Toyota has plants in the United States. And you can buy a Toyota car that's by and large is made in the United States. It is constructed in the United States. But they aren't all made in the United States. So You go to a Toyota lot, and some of the cars will be a certain price. It's same model, same everything. You just want a different paint job or different features. But that one was made in Japan. This one was made here. And the price difference is, $36,000. How's that work?
And it doesn't seem that complicated, right? But it
doesn't. Till you think about it.
It's like the paperclip. Nobody ever thought of it.
It's not at all like the paperclip.
One guy thought of it. Everybody looked at it. They said, wow, that was a good idea. Why didn't I think of it? But
yeah, here I am doing fucking staples like an asshole.
We're bringing it down 6 more points, and that will put us really at the best level we've ever had for bringing in business. We've never been down to that level. We'll be among the lowest taxed states, and a lot of businesses are going to come in.
Countries, you mean?
Between that and our taxing.
Maybe he's just decided, fuck this president shit. I'm just going to be governor of Florida.
And tariff policies. We're going to have business like nobody's ever seen in this country before.
Yeah, most people were dead when we didn't have an industrial base.
That's why we're, having a 41-year record in optimism from small businesses and big businesses.
Everybody business. Big business is what my cousins used to call it when they took a shit when they were little.
And I'll keep my promise to pass historic tax cuts for families, workers, and businesses that create jobs in America.
Oh, yeah. So families, especially, children, families with children, create some jobs in America or you're fucked. You don't get a tax cut. What he means is if you own or run the business, you'll get a tax cut. But you don't get if you work for the business, you don't get a tax cut, you silly person.
Any business that invests $1 billion or more in the United States will be eligible for fully expedited permits and approvals, including environmental approvals from the federal government. So,
yes, congratulations to the Shenzhen bioweapon tech firm that just got quick approval. They're dumping $2 billion worth of chemicals waste into the middle of Ohio. Don't even need a permit.
So when companies come in, if they're going to invest $1 billion or more, there'll be many of them, and they'll go into Detroit, and they'll go into a lot of places where we want them. You saw how well I did with the auto workers. We did unbelievably. You saw how well we did with the Teamsters, and also the non-union were record 98%, 97%. Nobody's ever got numbers like that.
Yeah, again, you still only got 1.5% overall. You're going to talk about percentages, but you're not going to talk about the sheer numbers.
Because we're bringing business back, and they're all coming back.
They're not. You haven't even started yet, dummy. And if they're all coming back because of stuff you're promising that you haven't even passed yet, they're fucking morons.
We lost them over years of stupidity, I call it. I call it the years of stupidity.
You just started doing that, yeah.
Decades of stupidity.
Yeah, you were part of those decades of stupidity.
Through the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk has been working...
Which is not a department.
...very hard with various people, including Vivek.
He was about to say Ramaswamy, but nah.
Going to eliminate hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud, and I can only tell you, I'll give you a little early report, they're finding things that you wouldn't even believe.
Yeah, I kind of would. But please, tell us. I'm sure you're going to say, like you wouldn't believe or like no one's ever seen before, but I would like to just know just one of them. I don't know. Maybe just pop one in there. Just, hey, did you realize we're spending this on this and we shouldn't do that anymore?
So we're looking to save maybe $2 trillion.
Maybe.
And it'll have no impact. Actually, it'll make life better, but it'll have no impact on people. It's not like we're...
Yeah, but that's because of who you consider people.
We will never cut Social Security, things like that.
It doesn't sound like it.
It's just waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yeah, that's all they're after. They're just after waste, fraud, and abuse. Like the Farm Bill.
And we'll immediately restore the sovereign borders of the United States and stop illegal immigration, which is costing us, I believe, trillions of dollars a year.
Yeah, I don't care what you believe. Can you cite some kind of numbers?
I think it's a cost that nobody's ever seen anything like.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't know. How can you be satisfied releasing prisoners into the United States. Think of this.
I would not be satisfied releasing prisoners into the United States. I still don't know what the ever-loving shit you are talking about.
You're releasing prisoners from jail.
I am not. Stop it.
Jails all over the world, not just
Look, I haven't even left the country since COVID.
in South America. From the Congo,
I went on one cruise. We went to Mexico for like an afternoon because that's where the boat stopped. But it's not like I wandered around.
Talk about it all the time.
I certainly didn't have time to break into a prison and release guys with facial scars who used to kill for the cartels and give them bus tickets to El Paso.
They're a very big sender of people.
They are a big sender. A big sender.
But from all over the world, they're sending prisoners out of their jails.
Just like this, by the way, this is what he wants etched into the Statue of Liberty's book instead. Send me your tired... Fuck that. From all over the world, they're sending criminals and murderers and rapists. Fuck that.
Some of their jails are empty. And
well, congratulations to them. Maybe they're just not crimey like we are.
they will be empty soon if this ever continued.
If this ever continued.
I spoke with the president of Mexico, and as you know, I spoke with Justin Trudeau of Canada.
Yeah, you know his name, but you won't say hers?
And we told them...
What's her name? I know you know Justin Trudeau's because Melania wanted to fuck him, but what's the lady who is Mexico's president? You remember? Remember her name? Do you remember? I'm just waiting. Does it come to mind? Is it?
It's not fair, not right. You can't let these people come into our country. And they understand they're very much on notice. And they're going to have to stop this from happening. They're going to have to stop it.
Yeah, how do they stop the ones that are flying in through ports if they even are at all? And also, again, do we have any evidence whatsoever that they are somehow complicit in or participating in any way this ridiculousness?
We lose a lot of money to Mexico. We lose a lot of money to Canada. Tremendous.
Well, look, what can I tell you? Tim Horton donuts are spectacular, and when you're up in Detroit, it's just a little short ride across the water, and they call your name. You try to sleep in Detroit, and they're like, oh, Tim Hortons, eh?
We're subsidizing Canada. We're subsidizing Mexico. That can't
No, we're not.
go on. And I get along with the people of Mexico and Canada very well, but we can't...
Do you? What have your trips been like? What do you just walk around malls shaking hands and talking to people? How's your Spanish?
let that happen. Why are we supporting and giving other countries hundreds of billions of dollars? It's not fair. It's not right. And the people of Mexico and Canada fully understand that.
Are we buying goods from them, I'm assuming? I don't think we're just... where's the let's pay Canada $100 billion a year act of 1986?
We've talked about it before, but now we're doing something about it. We started...
All right, I have to know where this comes from. Where the fuck? Hold on. U.S. sends 100 to Canada a year. I don't know. Trump said U.S. citizen. Okay, but he's wrong. Okay, this is Snopes, obviously, so they won't believe it. But whatever. But he's wrong. Okay. He said, okay. Trump's post received more than 38,000 likes. Trump also claimed in an interview with Meet the Press, we're subsidizing Canada to the tune of $100 billion a year. 1,000 times the amount in his Truth Social post. Yeah, so it went from 100 million to 100 billion. According to the U.S. Foreign Assistance website, the U.S. has not spent more than $35 million in a single fiscal year on financial assistance for Canada since 2001. In the most recent report year, 2022, which ran from the United States, sent $32 million in foreign assistance to Canada. Some online users are aware that he was incorrect about and speculated the president-elect was conflating subsidies, a sum of money granted by a government or public body, usually through a cash payment or tax reduction, which is primarily what this is, with a trade deficit, which refers to this thing. The trade deficit with Canada for goods and services is $53 billion, so he's just doubling what the trade deficit is. The U.S. goods deficit, not including services, was $80 billion that year, closer to the number in his Meet the Press thing, but still $20 billion short. Trump says U.S. subsidies to Canada make no sense. Suggest they want to. Okay, yeah, this is just dumb. He's talking out of his ass. And the weird thing is, everybody standing there has to know this.
And then we had to fix the COVID situation. And
did you? How'd you fix it with what was it? Operation Fart Steed? Hold on. I always have to call that up.
Captain's log.
Yeah.
That's what we did. But now we're doing it. We're doing it from the beginning. Howard will be largely in charge. We'll be working on it together. Howard's terrific. He's done a fantastic job, and he's
did terrific stuff with the where he works with the thing with the they do the you guys know he does the thing. He's done. It's been great. Doesn't matter.
Really helped us a lot with transition. I think we have fantastic people coming in. So all of these policies will help us rapidly defeat inflation, create millions of new jobs, and put money in the pockets of the hardworking families of our country, pay off debt. We're going to be paying off a tremendous amount of debt.
Yeah, with all these tariffs and the oil.
We're $36 trillion, want to be there. And we're going to be...
Yeah, well, getting rid of the debt ceiling is not one way to solve that. But hey, who am I to...
Using a lot of the money that we make, we're going to be opening up a lot of businesses are going to be pouring in because of our tax policy. And we're going to
grow our way out of this debt. Just, Mom, all you got to do is give me another $180,000, and this is going to work out. I know the last 3 times I just injected it into my neck, but this is different.
We use the money that we made to pay off debt and to reduce taxes. We're going to further reduce taxes. If you remember when we reduced them last time, that brought a tremendous amount. We brought it down to 21%, and that was the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, and nobody ever thought this would happen, but this is what's supposed to happen. We actually ended up taking in more revenue at 21 than we did at 40%, which was pretty amazing.
No, because in the same time period, the deal that the Obama administration had made for returning people's business like Apple and all these things happened during that same period of time. So these giant lump sums came in.
But this will be the most exciting and successful period of reform and renewal in all of American history. Maybe
renewal?
Be of global history. The golden age of America, I call it. It's begun. So it's the golden age of America, and that's...
Didn't we have the golden age already? Wouldn't this be the platinum age?
What it's going to be.
The diamond age? What is it? I always forget what gift to get.
And we hope we don't have any intervening problems because things happen.
Do they, though? I mean, what do you worry about it? You'll solve this whole war thing in 24 hours. I don't even know. It's all going to be over so quickly, and it's probably only a problem because we have stupid people running everything. You got this. Like
out of nowhere came the China virus.
Did it come out of nowhere? Because we had a pandemic response team because we'd seen H1N1 make, do some serious damage and swine flu and other things like that. So we prepped for it, and then you took that away, and then it's like you could almost see that maybe... you should prepare for shit like that. It's almost like, who could have expected a hurricane in Florida?
Out of nowhere came other things.
Yes. Who can forget? It's like a Bible verse. Something wicked this way comes. Out of nowhere came other things.
You don't want to have... when I left, we had no wars. We had no problems. The
whole world was staying home.
Middle East was good. We did the Abraham...
It was good.
Accords. We did things that nobody thought were even possible. But think of it, 4 years ago, we had no wars. You didn't have Russia going into Ukraine. They wouldn't have done it. They weren't even thinking about it.
They were thinking about it. They'd done it before. They were actually in Ukraine. They had been fighting there since 2014. You talk to Putin all the time, and it was the apple of his eye. And apparently he was already eating a big chunk of it.
When they saw what happened in Afghanistan, I think they gave them an idea, but they wouldn't have done it.
Well, that's stupid because obviously it didn't work out because apparently they were like, shit, this is our time to move. It's 800,000 soldiers and 15 feet gained later.
They would have never gone. President Putin would have never gone in.
Nonsense.
And now you look at all those people are dead. All those cities are destroyed. You know, it's nice
So flat.
to say they want their land back, but the cities are largely destroyed.
Yeah, maybe they'll rebuild them. Maybe they'll take Russian money and rebuild their cities. Maybe they just want their cities back. I mean, so what's the idea that after a hurricane hits North Carolina, they should just go, wow, that city's fucked. I would just move.
They've left Kiev because probably maybe they want to use it or occupy it, but they haven't done it. They've done a lot of damage, but relatively compared to the other cities, very little. But many of those cities are gone. Those beautiful towers, those beautiful buildings that they had are
This motherfucker thinks this is Greece.
now laying on their sides.
That's worse when a building's laying on its side like that, because it's never going to get up. I mean, it just doesn't want to go to school, and it smells. It's like a teenage building.
Destroyed, totally destroyed.
Yeah, I would say a building laying on its side probably qualifies as. I mean, from an insurance standpoint.
The turrets and all of the magnificent.
Oh yeah, the turrets, especially. Yeah, and the portcullis, completely fucked.
1,000-year-old, 2,000-year-old structures that were very
From the Soviet Union.
strong.
Yes, these very strong Soviet-era factories that are 2,000 years old.
Are blown to smithereens.
Well, maybe you can ask the Smithereenians to bring it back.
Look at some of those cities and not one building standing. So, you know, when you say take over the country, take over what? Take over what? That's
Jesus Christ. Hold on. Does this asshole think like the video from Gaza, like that he's seeing from Gaza is Ukraine? Does he think like Gaza, like the images he's seeing from Gaza are like the surrounding area of Kyiv?
100-year rebuild. Take 100 years to rebuild it, and you can.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I say I don't know about you, but construction's improved greatly over the last couple of decades.
Never have it the way it was. What a shame! It should have never happened. It would have never happened. If I were president, that war would have never happened.
Nonsense.
Nor would Israel have happened with the attack on Israel. So
there wouldn't be an Israel, is your point?
we're inheriting big challenges at home and all over the world. Again, we had no wars. We had no problems.
Also bullshit. Like, again, we were in Afghanistan. The Russians were already in Ukraine since 2014.
We had no inflation. We had it less than 1%.
Yeah, but then COVID happened and we had deflation and a collapse of the entire economy. And then the responding aspect of the supply chains, fuck, we've been through this.
Perfect number.
Yeah, except for that fucking whole thing where I blew off a year of my presidency saying it would be gone with the sunshine.
And then we had inflation, the likes of which I say I don't believe the country's ever seen inflation like that. They say 38 years. I don't know. I think it's probably ever, but
what's the difference? 38 ever.
we're going to take care of all of it. We're going to get the prices down by.
Also, by the way, the last time we had inflation like that, it wasn't preceded by a worldwide pandemic that shut the whole goddamn world down.
The energy is going to come in. We have more energy than anybody else. We're going to use it. We don't have to buy energy from Venezuela when we have 50 times more than they do. It's just insane what we're doing. So we will not rest until America is richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before.
Well, you sound like you need a nap. So I would just, before you get sworn in, I would maybe check into a coma.
And we have a big head start. Last time we didn't, and last time we didn't know the people.
Yeah, you're right. You had to have a big head start. Last time you didn't. You only had to ride on the Obama economy. This time you get to ride on top of the Biden economy.
But we didn't know a lot of things. But by the time we got it up and going, it was incredible. Again, we built the greatest economy in history for that period.
Again, no, you didn't.
Period of time, and we'll do it.
It was the greatest economy in history for those 3 years in history, but no other time in history.
Again, I believe substantially more so, because we understand, number one, the people of Washington,
Yes, definitely. That's the thing. Understanding the people of Washington. That's key.
I know them. I didn't know any of them virtually. I relied on other people for recommendations. Some were.
Yeah, that's what you were supposed to do. Remember, you ran as an outsider. You still ran as an outsider, even after you've been president.
Very good recommendations. We had some great people. Bob Lighthizer, I thought, was great. We had a lot of great people. And but we had some people that I wouldn't have used in retrospect, and now I.
In retrospect?
I know them better than anybody, better than they know themselves.
Yikes.
So once again, I'd like to thank Massa for what he's done with that investment, which will end up being $200 billion, I believe. But
yeah, because $100 billion sounds pathetic for a country's, this large. Just sounds like he said that just so he could show up on the property. And
I just want to thank him. He's just an outstanding man. When you have that kind of brain power wanting to invest in this country, and that's money that he can't invest elsewhere. So that's a big investment, but makes me feel.
Yeah, like where? Where's he going to put it? Turkey? Brazil? Venezuela? China? Where will he put it? Germany?
Very good. Makes me feel that we're absolutely on the right track. So thank you to Massa, and we'll take a couple of questions. Yeah, please. Jeff. Yeah.
Since your election?
Well, I'm not going to comment on the Putin question, but I will comment on.
Because my butt still hurts.
Bibi, we had a very good talk.
Really? Did you call him Bibi?
We discussed what is going to happen, and I'll be very available on January 20th, and we'll see.
Will you? You got nothing planned for your first day? I thought you were going to be deporting every undocumented immigrant in the country.
As you know, I gave warning that
you're going to. You know what? Fuck it. You can call him from the golf course.
If these hostages aren't back home by that date, all hell's going to break out.
Okay. Fuck you. All hell's going to break loose, not out.
And very strong.
Again, compared to what? What Gaza looks like right now?
But we generally.
What are you going to do? Like tell Israel to I don't know, get rid of their rules of engagement entirely?
Discussed. I asked him, where are things?
And he said, look down.
Mike Waltz they're doing a great job, by the way. Everybody is very happy. I think he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's totally fantastic job. Fantastic.
But he was very.
So good. He's doing such a great job. Mike Waltz he's just great. Doing the thing with the great. And that's why it's over and why it's going to be over. And it's so great. And things have gotten better. And I asked him about things and Bibi.
Very much involved in the call. But it was a recap call more than anything else.
Yeah. So he just basically, a recap call? Let me bring you up to speed, dum-dum.
President, are you arguing to stop the ban on TikTok?
Seriously, recap call?
Next month?
Who?
How do you plan to stop the ban on TikTok next month?
We'll take a look at TikTok. I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok
because it's owned by the Chinese government?
Because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that.
Yeah, the Chinese algorithm that they put in there specifically. Yeah, that's exactly why. Like, I have a warm spot in my heart for VK, the Russian Facebook, because there are a lot of people who say that it was Russian Facebook accounts that put me over the top in 2016, so.
Now, Joe Rogan did, and some of the other people that were recommended by my son Barron, he knew names. I said, who is that? Tell me, who's that? Dad, you got to be kidding. I can't believe you don't know. And I did those interviews. And it was actually sort of cute, if you want to know the truth. But we did them. And
it was sort of cute.
That had an impact. But TikTok had an impact. And so we're taking a look at it. But, we won youth. Republicans are always 30 points down in youth. I don't know why. But we ended up finishing. There was one poll that showed us down about 30. We were 35 or 36 points up with young people. So I have a little bit of a warm spot in my heart, I'll be honest. Yes,
President.
Are Are you entertaining the idea of preemptive strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities?
Oh, this is the preemptive strike question. We saw this before.
Iran's nuclear
Well, I
facilities.
can't tell you that. I mean, it's a wonderful question, but how can am I going to do preemptive strikes? Why would I say that? Can you imagine if I said yes or no? You'd say, that was strange that he answered that way. Am I going to do preemptive strikes on Iran? Is that a serious question? How could I answer a question like that? Say it.
Would you be in support of Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear
How could I
facilities?
tell you a thing like that now? It's just so, you don't talk about that before something may or may not happen.
Yeah, you just let it happen, and then you go, well, it happened. What do you want? That's leadership.
Just, I don't want to insult you. I just think it's just not something that I would ever answer having to do with there or any other.
Yeah, he would have to have principles. There isn't. Here's the Trump doctrine. I'll tell you after it happens.
The place in the world.
President Trump. Time magazine interview. Can I ask, just clearly, do you believe there's a connection between vaccines and autism? Do you believe there's a link?
Well, I don't look. Right now, you have some very brilliant people looking at it. I had dinner the other night with the head of Pfizer, the head of Eli Lilly, and RFK, as you know, and Oz. And
Sorry, RFK? Isn't he dead?
we had.
You mean, Junior? Sure. All right, well, Jesus, I was like, did the Pfizer people offer you a pill when you kept introducing him as RFK?
And other people within the administration that are involved, the medical. And
Yes, the people in the administration were involved in medical.
we're looking to find out. You know, if you look at autism, so 30 years ago we had, I've heard numbers of like 1 in 200,000, 1 in 100,000. And now I'm hearing numbers of 1 in 100.
Yeah, because we used to categorize deaf kids as retarded. It was a catch-all.
So something's wrong.
Yeah, the categorization and autism and the broad spectrum of autism, is the question. Good Lord.
There's something wrong. And we're going to find out about it.
What about the president?
Well, okay, but what are you going to find out? If vaccines had anything to do with it? They didn't. Multiple studies, they didn't. That's not what's causing it. So is that the only place you're going to look? You're just like, wow, the numbers of autism have just gone through the roof. Is it because of vaccines? We did a study. Nope, not. Oh, well then next. Would you just not give a shit about autism at that point? I guess it's just the thing. Probably just bad genes. Fuck them.
One more.
Can I follow up on Robert Kennedy? He's on the Hill today. He's meeting with senators. What do you say to people who are worried that his views on vaccines will translate into policies that will make their kids less safe?
No, I think he's going to be much less radical than you would think. I think he's...
No. Yeah, but based on what? Are you going to tell him to be? You told him like he's going to run wild.
Got a very open mind, or I wouldn't have put him there. He's going to be very much less radical. But
why? Hold on. First of all, why would you put a radical in that position anyways? And why would you put a radical in there if you don't want radical change?
There are problems. I mean, we don't do as well as a lot of other nations, and those nations use nothing. And
whoa. Hold on. Does this asshole think that we have more illness in our country, like preventable illness, because we vaccinate for them, and other countries do better than us and don't vaccinate? Jesus.
We're going to find out what those problems are. And another thing...
Well, they aren't polio, for example. They're not measles or whooping cough.
They came up. The dinner was fascinating because they had...
Yeah, I bet. You just took notes the whole time.
Bobby and I had, again, the head of Pfizer. You know who that is. He's a...
Yeah, him. Tim Pfizer.
Highly respected man who...
Yeah, who has a name? Pfizer guy.
He's run an incredible company. Likewise.
Yeah, called Phi something.
With Lilly, the top two people.
Yeah, Mr. Lilly and Mr. Pfizer.
And we had the head of the industry also. So all companies were represented. And I said, let's have it
Doesn't sound like it.
out now a little bit. And you know what came out of that meeting is that we're paying far too much because we're paying much more than other countries.
For our vaccines.
And we have laws that make it impossible to reduce. And we have a thing called the middleman. You know the middleman, right?
Oh, yes. That's a great Living Color song.
The horrible middleman.
Oh, the horrible horror. The horror. I swallowed a bug.
That makes more money, frankly, than the drug companies. And
no, they don't.
They don't do anything except they're a middleman. We're going to knock out the middleman.
Also, what do you mean, pharmacists? The middleman.
Be very unpopular after that statement.
Mr. President,
I don't know who these middlemen are, but they are rich as hell.
Well, why don't you know then? If they're rich as hell, maybe, you know what? How about going table to table at Mar-a-Lago? You'll probably find one of these dopey motherfuckers. If they're richer than the pharmaceutical companies, they should be easy to spot. They probably walk around with a gold toilet seat as a necklace around their neck, and like they probably have a Ferrari on each foot.
And we're going to knock out the middlemen. We're going to get drug costs down at levels that nobody has ever seen before.
Certainly not the middlemen who are Bill Pfizer. You know who they are. Tell me, Gary Pfizer? James Pfizer. Phil Pfizer.
And that really, I tell you, we spent more time talking about that.
Oh, yeah, I bet they wanted to talk about that. It's almost as if you dough-headed motherfucker, you sat at a table with pharmaceutical CEOs, and they drafted the conversation in the direction that helps them the most. Hey, you don't have to regulate our costs. It's not us. It's these middlemen. You cut them out. That's the price savings you're going after, and that doesn't affect us at all. What do you think? Shake, shake, excellent. Who are they? I have no idea. Go find them yourself.
With Bobby and with the executives and Oz, all of them, we spent more time talking about that than anything.
Yeah, you know why? Because that's what the fucking pharmaceutical companies that were sitting at the table wanted to talk about. What came from that? Holy shit. What is that? That is the pharmaceutical companies making a deal with him to keep all the money they've made, to not have to cut their costs, to not have to negotiate their prices, you know, with the government for Medicare, Medicaid, and that stuff. Just get rid of the middleman thing. That'll give you a cost saving right out of the fucking gate. And we won't have to lose a dime, and you won't have to get into a messy negotiation with us, and we won't have to talk about R&D and how you're trying to fucking sweep the leg when we're trying to develop drugs and all this stuff. These guys don't make anything, and they add an extra cost. It's not a lot, but it'll make a substantial thing, and you can claim victory because you got these people out of the middle, and they don't even exist, and nobody likes them, and yet they're richer than everybody, and you know, like Gary Middleman. Honest to God, horse shit. This is, I mean, but a great view into how easy to manipulate this dumb motherfucker is. And so I say to all the alleged liberal media, to all the good guys in business and elsewhere who are concerned about the next 4 years, here's what I would say to you. Find some way to have dinner with this dipshit and heap praise on him, and then start giving him tips on how he can look good that benefits you and sends this dipshit chasing a laser pointer in another direction, because it'll work, because he's fucking dumb.
Trump, what about the polio vaccine?
Well, I'm a big believer in it, and
yeah, you don't have to believe in science. Just say it works.
I think everything should be looked at, but I'm a big believer in the polio vaccine, the Salk vaccine.
Do you think schools should mandate vaccines? Do you think schools should mandate vaccines?
I don't like mandates. I'm not a big mandate person, so I was against mandates. Mostly Democrat governors did the mandates, and they did a very...
Okay, fuck you. All schools have mandates for vaccines. What they mean is fucking COVID. And they got a bunch of fucking anti-vaxxer dickheads pushing back on this. And with RFK Jr. in there, they're going to eliminate these things. And we're going to have a fucking whooping cough or a measles outbreak that's going to kill a bunch of fucking kids. And they're going to go, whoops. It's like, you know, who would have thought? Nobody would ever say, you know, thought something like this would have happened.
Poor thing. You know, in retrospect, they made a big mistake having to do with the education of children. You know, they lost like a year or 2 years of their lives. The mandate was...
No, they didn't. They're still alive.
It was a bad thing. I was against the mandate.
And again, a mandate for a vaccine isn't the same thing as not going to school. And those shutdowns happened while he was president.
Is that something you want to...
14 days to stop the spread, extended for months.
Yes, please.
Do you expect Ron DeSantis to appoint Laura Trump to Senator Marco Rubio's seat?
No, I don't. I probably don't, but I don't know.
Great. Awesome. This is almost like every sentence that came out of his mouth at that dinner with the pharmaceutical guys.
Ron's doing a good job. That's his choice. Nothing to do with me. Laura's unbelievable. I mean, she was incredible.
Oh, yeah. The
job she did at the RNC as chairman, along with Michael Whatley, the combination. But I can just speak for Laura. She is so highly respected by women. I mean...
yeah, the men of the RNC hate her guts because women aren't supposed to be doing that shit. They're supposed to be home making babies, barefoot, I guess drinking wine while their children cry in the background.
Even her workout routines are through the roof. She lives...
Well, and look, Florida is the workout state.
150 pounds. I don't know how the hell she does it. She's a bad...
She lifts 150 pounds. You don't know how she does it? I don't know. How do you get up off the toilet?
Example for men and women sports, because I wouldn't be able to beat her, I don't believe. I'd try like hell. But no, she's an incredible woman. And, you know, it's funny, people oftentimes talk about nepotism.
They do. I don't know why.
I never had, when I put her there, people said, how did you get her to do it? You know, she could have run for the Senate in North Carolina. Ted Budd would be the first to say. And he wouldn't have run. Nobody would have run. And she just said, no, I want to really focus on my children. When the election, and my family, she has a great family. When the election started getting closer, I asked her, would she go to Washington and work on the, as chairman of the committee along with Michael Whatley.
Yeah, he was going to send Eric, but Eric's too stupid.
And they did such an unbelievable job.
Funneling money from voters to you?
Especially on cheating, they stopped it.
Because there was none?
Or at least they stymied it. Too big.
They stymied it. They curlied it. They peedied it. They alfalfa'd it.
To rig. And we won in a landslide. You know, we won.
No, you didn't.
Tremendously. She did.
1.5%. Smaller margin than Hillary Clinton in real votes.
Did an amazing job.
Lower turnout.
Now Ron is going to have to make, because Marco has been really a star already, and we haven't started, but you know we see signs of from
Marco is the light of the world.
Some people, or very early, we see signs of stardom, and Marco has done incredibly. He's
signs of stardom. Simmer the fuck down.
Sort of born for it. It was such an easy decision. The Marco decision was such an easy, but he leaves a vacancy in Florida, and Ron's going to have to make that decision, and he'll make the right decision. I also know that Laura's got so many other things. I mean, she's got so many other things. People want her.
Yeah, she has so many other things.
Her to be on television. They want to give her contracts. You know, her predominant thought is our country and her family. Those are her thoughts.
Because you share a brain.
But she's got so many other things that she's talking about. He'll make the right decision.
Mr. President. Should senators who oppose your nominees or cabinet nominees, should they be primary?
If they are unreasonable, I'll give you a different answer, an answer that you'll be shocked to hear. If they're unreasonable, if they're opposing somebody for political reasons or stupid reasons,
which would be defined as what?
I would say has nothing to do with me. I would say they probably would be primaried. But if they're reasonable, fair, and really disagree with something or somebody, I could see that happening. But I do believe that if they're I think we have great people. I think we have a great group of people. Pam has been unbelievably received. You take a look, Pam Bondi.
Yeah, you mean compared to Rapey McFivehead?
So many have been just unbelievably received.
Yes, they've been unbelievably received. Yeah, a lot of them are like, I can't believe you are sending this motherfucker over to talk to the Senate at all.
I think Pete Hegseth is making tremendous strides over the last week. He's going to be great. Look, he went to Princeton. He went to Harvard. He was a great...
He went to several bars.
Great student there, but he really was from the first day...
Yeah, he's an elite, okay? He should just get the job. Who gives a shit if he's a womanizing drunk who yells, kill all Muslims in bars and shit like that? That's not important. The important thing is he went to Ivy League schools. So shut the fuck up, America. What do you think I'm going to do? Pick somebody from the heartland?
I met him. All he wanted to talk about was military. He's just a military guy. I think it's a natural. This was my idea. And, you know, Pete Hegseth gave...
Yes. Most of your ideas clearly come because you watch the Fox morning shows.
Up a lot.
You're still laughing at Tim Pfizer?
Because he was going big places in Fox. Big places.
Yeah, he was going all the way from the morning show on Fox and Friends on Saturday to occasionally filling in on Wednesdays and back to the Saturday show.
A lot of...
Boom, like a rocket ship.
Money. And he didn't even hesitate. When I said, do you want to do this? He said, absolutely. I said, you're not going to make a lot of money while you're here, but you can get a contract with a military contractor afterwards, and you can be as drunk as you want. If it doesn't work out,
all you got to do is walk out of here on your last day with a bunch of paperwork duct taped to your legs, and any contractor in the world will pay you. It's sweet. I did it.
You'll never have the opportunity that you have right now in terms of the world of entertainment or business, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, all you're going to do is get uglier, is his point. What the fuck are you talking about? You think that in like 4 years, he's like, look, the way you drink, the way you're going to age in the next 4 years, it's not going to be pretty. You might look good on TV now, but you keep drinking like this, in about 8 months, you're going to look like Don Knotts.
You'll never have that opportunity again. In fact, it could be just the opposite, because it's nasty out there. He said, I don't care. I have to do it for my country. He gave up a tremendous amount. If this didn't work, it would be a tragedy. Because, but that's what he loves. He loves the military.
What are you talking about? Like, sorry, you think anybody at Fox News, short of Sean Hannity or one of these millionaires that makes it, makes like the primetime money, wouldn't walk from that fucking dump to be the sec def? Are you nuts? You don't think you could parlay being the sec def? How many sec defs in the past do you think went broke in later life? And I guarantee none of them had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be on the air at 5 so that they could talk to Steve fucking Ducey's kid.
I never talked to him about anything else. He'd talk about the military.
It's because he has nothing else. You certainly can't talk to him about relationships.
Come to see me.
You have a lot more in common, though, you might, actually.
About a soldier that was unfairly treated, and could I help?
You mean who was convicted of murder for killing civilians?
That's the only thing I virtually ever talked to him about, and I always...
Virtually?
Remembered it. I've seen him many times.
Well, it's not like you can discuss drinking, right? Allegedly, you don't drink, so...
I don't think I've ever had a subject on anything other than military with him. That's where his love is.
Talking military? Is that, we talk military. That's what we do. We just talk military as a noun.
And he didn't say, well, I'd like to think about it. I'd like to talk to my family. He said, not even a contest. And
yeah, I don't talk to my family. He didn't talk to his family about the last 3 affairs he had. Why would he talk to them about this?
No, he was going through the roof over there. He was doing great. They have the #1 show that
at 6 in the morning,
Saturday and Sunday with Will and Rachel.
Yeah, they're killing it. Are you going to offer Will and Rachel cabinet positions as well, or you just don't want to gut your favorite show? I don't even know who I'm going to be watching. You can't take a cast change of that magnitude.
That was great chemistry. And
you fucked it up. How dare you?
If this didn't work out for him, it would be actually sort of tragic. Yeah.
Sort of. What do you mean if it didn't work out for him? If he got, if a lot of attention was drawn to his, like his sexist and violent antics while drinking, and his lack of trust, and his funneling money away from veterans charities that he ran.
Pardoning Eric Adams.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I think that he was treated pretty unfairly. Now, I haven't seen the gravity of it all, but it seems, like being upgraded in an airplane many years ago. I know probably everybody here has been upgraded. They see you're all stars, and they say, I want to upgrade that person from NBC. I'm going to upgrade him. And that would mean you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. I don't know. Somehow, I'd have to see it because I don't know the facts. I think he...
What? Hold on. Back the fuck up. Who?
Being upgraded in an air... Yeah, I would.
Consider pardoning Eric Adams.
Oh, Eric Adams. Okay, so he thinks the mayor is in danger of going to jail because he was upgraded on a flight by the politeness of the airline staff or something?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I think that he was treated pretty unfairly. Now, I haven't seen the gravity of it all, but it seems...
Also, isn't it a state thing anyways?
Seems, like being upgraded in an airplane many years ago. I know probably everybody here has been upgraded. They see you're all stars, and they say, I want to upgrade that person from NBC. I'm going to upgrade him. And that would mean you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. I don't know, somehow.
Yeah, that's not at all what happened. They literally, it's for giant money laundering charges, stupid.
I'd have to see it because I don't know the facts. I think...
You don't? Really? It seems to me you've got a tremendous grasp.
He was treated, it's very interesting.
Is it?
When he essentially went against what was happening with the migrants coming in. And, he made some pretty strong statements like, this is not sustainable.
Yeah, terrible. That he said, this is not sustainable. You do realize other mayors said this is not sustainable and they're not going to jail. Maybe it's because they didn't do any money laundering.
I said, you know what? He'll be indicted soon. And I said it not as a prediction, a little bit lightheartedly, but I said it. I said, he's going to be indicted. And a few months later, he got indicted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you involved in the money laundering? I wouldn't be surprised.
So, yeah, I would certainly look at it. Yes.
Mr. President, can I ask you a question about the drones?
900 troops in Syria. Are you planning on pulling them when you get into office, or will you...
Well, we had 5,000 troops along the border, and
in Syria,
I asked a couple of generals, so we have an army of 250,000 in Syria, and you had an army of 400,000. They have many more people than that. Turkey is a major force, by the way, and Erdogan is somebody I got along with great, but he has a major military force, and his has not been worn out with war.
Well, that's good. I guess maybe because they haven't been at war.
It hasn't been worn out with...
Yeah. Most armies actually haven't been worn out with war currently. There's like almost none, actually.
All of the other things. He's built a very strong, powerful army. And so we have...
And he hasn't been at war.
5,000 soldiers in between a 5 million person army and a 250,000 person army. And I asked the general, what do you think of that situation? He said, they'll be wiped out immediately. And I moved them out and I took a lot of heat. And
oh, the Kurds, he meant. The Kurds were our allies. He's talking about it's like, if you move out, they'll wipe out the Kurds. And that's exactly what the Turks tried to do.
You know what happened? Nothing. I saved a lot of lives. Now we have 900. They put some back.
Sorry, saved what lives? Ours? Like, we weren't getting shot at.
But 900, if you're talking about two. Now, one of the sides has been essentially wiped out, but nobody knows who the other side is. But I do. You know who it is? Turkey. Okay? Turkey's the one behind it.
Right. So the general tells you, if you take out our troops, Turkey will wipe out the Kurds. And then listen to him say this again. Listen to this shit.
Nothing. I saved a lot.
Nothing happened to the Kurds.
A lot of lives. Now
he saved a lot of lives. Then what? There's two sides: Turkey and the Kurds. I guess the Syrian Defense Forces aligned with them.
Have 900. They put some back, but 900. If you're talking about two, now one of the sides has been essentially wiped out. But
yeah, that would be the side you abandoned.
But nobody knows who the other side is. But I do. You know who it is?
I do.
Turkey.
Turkey is I do.
Okay.
I do.
Turkey's the one behind it.
Turkey did the whole thing.
He's a very smart guy.
He is Mr. Tim Turkey.
Wanted it for thousands of years.
Jack Erdogan, a.k.a. Tim Turkey.
And he got it. And those people that went in are controlled by Turkey. And that's okay. It's another way to fight. But no, I don't think that I want to have our soldiers killed. But I don't think that will happen now anyway because the one side's been decimated.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. Again, what you'll like, this is like, I don't really think I'm going to do anything. I don't think you can do anything. I think it's done and we're done. It's done. I guess the Biden administration played it perfectly. What are you going to do?
Mr. President, I want to ask you a question about the drones.
the drones concerned about more unrest in that region, or do you think it will calm?
Well, nobody knows what the final outcome is going to be in the
nobody knows
region. You know, nobody knows who really the final. I believe it's Turkey, and I think Turkey is very smart. He's a very smart guy, and he's very
Tim Turkey is very smart.
Tough
Turkey.
Turkey did an unfriendly takeover.
Unfriendly takeover. Well, it certainly wasn't neighborly, I'll give you that.
Without a lot of lives being lost. I can say that Assad was a butcher. What he did to children. You remember I attacked him.
Oh, you mean Tulsi's best buddy?
Him with the 58 missiles. Unbelievable missiles coming from ships 700 miles away, and every one of them hit their target. But I did that. That was the red line in the sand. Obama drew it, and then he refused to honor what he did. He said, if anybody goes across the red line, and Assad killed many more children after that, and Obama did nothing, but I did. I hit him with a lot of missiles. In fact, President Xi was sitting here the night he was in that dining room having chocolate cake. Remember the famous chocolate cake? But and that's when
it's shit. It's the chocolate cake there is shit. It's just garbage. It's gummy and overly thick. It's garbage.
I explained what we were doing as the missiles were shot, and it was
yeah. When you shoot a missile,
amazing as to precision because every one of those missiles hit its target from.
Yeah, these aren't trajectory missiles. They're not firing them and hope the wind doesn't blow them off course. They have guided. These are guided missiles. Dum.
A long distance away.
Yeah, 700 miles, I hear.
Had President Obama drawn the line and where it meant something, you wouldn't have even had Russia there. But in the end, I never understood.
Sorry, you should have killed Assad?
Why Russia went there. They were not getting very much out of it. But now their time is taken up with Ukraine, and we'd like to get them to stop on Ukraine, and Ukraine stop also.
Why would Ukraine stop if Russia doesn't stop? And if Russia stops, why wouldn't Ukraine? Russia could just get the fuck out.
As you know, when I went to the cathedral, which is fantastic, the job that they've done in France, and the job that Macron, Emmanuel did.
Yeah, he still had marble dust on his elbows.
He did a phenomenal job on
your wife.
The rebuilding of that
on Melania
cathedral. It's magnificent.
On the handshake.
And they did a great thing, and they had great respect for our country. They treated me, meaning I'm the country, I'm the representative of our country. And
yeah, that's how it works with the president. Yes, it's not like they have to like you personally. Maybe you're starting to wake up to that fact.
We were treated with great respect, and one of the people that came to pay his respects is, as you know, Ukraine, Zelensky.
Ukraine Zelensky? Is that his full name? I always thought it was Vladimir.
And he would like to have peace. He wants peace. Everyone's being killed. It's the worst carnage that this world has seen since World War II. I've had pictures of fields where bodies are lying on top of bodies. Looks like the old pictures of the Civil War, where just bodies are all...
Well, that's just because Russians often send their soldiers into fight with just chunks of wood that's been sawed into the shape of a gun.
Over just...
Actually, the Russians probably are using Civil War era guns.
If you saw
uniforms.
the pictures, you'd feel more strongly about it. It's got to stop.
First of all, the idea that we don't is fucking stupid. Here's a good idea. Go look at all the fucking Bucha mass graves and the interviews with rape victims and the pictures of the dead kids from there, and then tell Russia to get the fuck out.
And we're trying to get it to stop.
We're trying to get that stopped? I'm sorry, it's been more than 24 hours. Fail. Every second. Fail.
Well, we're gonna see.
We're gonna see. Can you imagine if he said that during the campaign instead of I can get this fixed in 24 hours? We're gonna see. It's very complicated, whatever.
We're going to be talking. We'll be talking to President Putin, and we'll be talking to the representatives, Zelensky, and representatives from Ukraine. We got to stop it. It's carnage.
What about the fear here at home of the drones?
Yeah, it's not just carnage. It's not like a series of car accidents, you dumb motherfucker.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The governor.
Oh, it's the fucking dude from. It's the dude who Marjorie Taylor Greene's side piece. That I know his voice. Bee Sting, the guy with the puffy eyes.
The government knows what is happening. Look. Our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense.
Yeah, well, you know how you keep an idiot in suspense? I'll tell you later.
I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should.
Or maybe they have already told the people several times, and people just don't want to believe it because they got dipshits like Megyn Kelly and Adam Carolla going, I don't know, even if they tell us, I don't buy it.
Because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the truth?
So they can't be serious.
What are
they going to do? Watch you playing golf?
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster.
Oh, good. Well, at least they won't have to fumigate the place next week.
I've decided to cancel my trip.
Yeah, this is him making a joke to his staff.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been?
Do you have any reason to think they're a threat?
Yes. Because if he has, he can go, yeah, I talked to them. It's nothing. But it's better for me if you think there's something and I can use it against him, so I'm not going to say it. It's Adam Crayola? Okay.
Two quick questions. First, on vaccines, do you want RFK Jr. to revoke any vaccines?
No, I want him to come back with a report as to what he thinks. We're going to find out a lot.
Yeah. You're going to find out that he's a nutcase and an asshole, and you're going to probably have more of a problem with HR and him in the White House than before you ever get to his stupid fucking idea about, like, regulations he wants to add to the food industry, which, by the way, are just more like, from what he talks about anyways, closer to what Europe has. So knock yourself the fuck out.
We're doing two things. We're going to have tremendous cost savings that will come out of this. That's a minimum. And
yeah, we don't have to pay for all these stupid kids to go to community college and worry about, whether or not they run out their insurance or whatever, because they'll just die.
We're also going to have, and I think, very serious discussions about certain things, whether it's pesticides. Europe doesn't use pesticides.
Yes, they do.
And yet they have a better mortality rate than we do. They don't use pesticides. In fact, they use it as an excuse not to take our farm product. We spend billions and billions of dollars on pesticides. And something bad's happening.
I think, you know what you could solve that with? Regulations. That's right. That's how you deal with that. What you're saying is he is going to impose, he's going to come back with a report that you're already talking about that will impose massive regulations on the agricultural industry that will drive up their costs and lower their output. And again, knock yourself the fuck out, dummy. But don't pretend that you're deregulation and you're trying to help businesses, because I got news for you. This is going to make shit expensive.
Again, you take a look at autism today versus 20, 25 years ago. It's like not even believable. So we're going to have reports. No, nothing's going to happen very quickly. I think you're going to find...
Since 2000?
That Bobby he's a very rational guy. I found him to be very rational. No, nothing. You're not going to lose the polio vaccine. That's not going to happen. I saw what happened with the polio. I have friends that were very much affected by that. I have friends from many years ago, and they have obviously they're still in not such good shape because of it. No, that was, and many people died. And the moment they took that vaccine, it ended. Dr. Jonas Salk did a great job, so I don't anticipate that at all. But we're going to look into finding why is the autism rate so much higher than it was 20, 25, 30 years ago. I mean,
because the categorization for what qualifies as autism has gone way up.
It's like it's 100 times higher. There's something wrong, and we're going to try finding that.
Because we had generations of undiagnosed ADHD and ADD and autism, and they just categorized it, and people just outgrew it, and there's an overdiagnosis issue, but there's also a clarification of diagnosis that actually comes, and then there's a spectrum of things. So you might have, multiple types of autism, and we used to only have one form of diabetes, and consumption used to kill everybody, and now we don't have, where'd all the consumption go? Well, it came out as cancer and tuberculosis and a bunch of other shit, because anything that consumed you was just consumption.
We're also going to find out, why are we paying more than other countries?
Because the same reason Democrats have been saying forever. Because we don't get a chance to negotiate generic prices for these things. That's why, period.
And we were in the process of doing that through transparency and other things. We were doing a good job in that first term.
Nope.
And we brought it down. We got the $35, all of the different things. We got, we were the ones that got all of that done. Everyone.
The word is insulin, and no, you didn't. He can't think of the word insulin.
One of those things, we got them done. I said,
all of them, everything's $35 now, yeah.
I hope I win, because otherwise somebody's going to take a lot of credit for what we did. But now what happens is we're gonna have a big conversation on price. Why is it that Germany and UK and other countries are paying so much more for the same box of medicine made in the same plant? Why is it that we're paying many times more? And I know the answer, because our government didn't do what they were supposed to do. And what?
Jesus Christ. You mean Republicans ran interference on it? Jesus.
What I put in place was terminated unexpectedly by the Biden.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it was not.
Administration, and they shouldn't have terminated.
They didn't terminate anything, you absolute weirdo.
It would have had a huge impact.
No, it didn't. You're not. What thing? What did they terminate? Tell us the name of the executive order. What did they terminate, you weirdo?
Mr. President, one quick question. On Ukraine, you mentioned that some of the areas are already decimated. Do you believe that Ukraine should cede territory to Russia?
Well, I'm going to let you know that after I have my first meeting. But a lot of that territory, when you look at what's happened to those, I mean, there are cities that there's not a building standing. It's a demolition site. There's not a building standing. So people can't go back to those cities. There's nothing there.
Yeah, so fuck North Carolina, I guess. We have entire cities wiped out by tornadoes every 5 fucking years. You're supposed to not rebuild. You're supposed to, those people just fuck it. That's not America anymore. And you know what? We should just give we'll give all the tornado lanes back to the Indians. That's the Trump plan. That's his theory.
It's just rubble. Just like when I knocked down a building in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. When did you do that?
Which is actually, this is worse, actually, because we do it.
Really?
Step by step. This thing has just got dumb.
So war is different than deconstruction and reconstruction of a building to build something bigger on the site? Fuck me.
And by the way, in those buildings are many people. Many people were in those buildings. You know, when they...
No, they weren't.
They said the number in Ukraine is going to be a much higher number of death.
No, because they evacuate the areas, stupid.
Is going to be a much higher number.
They blow up buildings. There's only 4 people killed in it because the only people who are in it are like a couple of soldiers or a sniper team.
Than you're hearing. You know, they're big buildings. That's what I did very well. And these are very long buildings. They're 15 to 20 stories high. They're massive buildings.
Very long. Well, they're laying on their sides. So
I was surprised at how big. And they're flattened like a pancake.
How much syrup, though?
1 or 2 bombs hit them, and they just collapsed.
So they probably weren't safe to be in the first place.
And they'd say nobody was hurt. Well, nobody knows who was in those buildings. There were a lot of...
Yeah, they do, because they evacuated everybody. The fighting had been going on for a long time before the building itself was taken down. They didn't just fucking dust off the building full of people from the start.
People in those buildings. They're going to find that...
No, they're not.
When they start...
No, they're not.
...doing the removal. Many more people are being killed in the Ukraine war with Russia than is being reported.
No. In the Russian war with Ukraine, you fuck. They didn't start this.
And that includes soldiers. The soldiers...
Yeah, tough shit.
...are being... It's a carnage that we haven't seen since the...
Yeah, it's a meat wave. That's how the Russians fight. They sent them in there. What are Ukrainians supposed to do? Well, I mean, these guys are being sent here. We can't exactly shoot them. They're just... Look, we should just let them in and let them rape everybody and steal our toilets. That's a fair trade.
Second World War. It's got to be stopped. And I'm doing.
Also, what the fuck does it? Seriously, what's the difference between? Why does that mean? What does that mean? Anything? That it's the most carnage since the Second World War. There's been carnage. We've had like genocides in Darfur and Bosnia-Herzegovina. We've had the Vietnam War and all kinds of stuff. Just hundreds of thousands of people killed across the globe in spatterings all over the place. And this is singular to a small area. Fuck difference does it make specific to this fight that there's a lot of people being killed in it? It's because the ground is more meaningful than the middle of Afghanistan. That's why. Because the people that are fighting for their own freedom give a shit more about this ground than some random tribes in the middle of Afghanistan who can't even remember who owns the place in the first place.
My best to stop it. Yeah, please, go ahead.
You had a meeting with Mrs. Abe yesterday, but Japanese Prime Minister... Mrs. Abe, and Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba is hoping to have a meeting anytime soon.
I will do that. In fact, I sent him a memento. I sent him a book, the Prime Minister.
What, a copy of Melania's book?
But Mrs. Abe was very close with our First Lady, with Melania, and she loved Melania's book. And
I didn't want to be right. God damn it.
And she called and wanted to know if she could have. I was very close to...
She couldn't find a copy of it on Amazon, and they were like, shit, it's sold out. Wait a minute. I know her husband.
The Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe. He was
him.
He's great. He was a great man, and his wife wanted to know if it would be possible.
Mrs. Shinzo.
Possible to have dinner, and it was just out of respect to Shinzo. And
Mrs. Shinzo.
And, yes, I'd love to see the Prime Minister, and we will do that. I actually sent him a book and some other things for him.
Yeah, I just had them laying around, mostly classified documents, but
through Mrs. Abe.
Will that happen before the inauguration day?
It could.
So she's smuggling for you now.
They'd like to do that. I would do that. Yeah.
So President Obama, just to clarify,
I have great respect for the position, and if he'd like to do that, I'd be here.
By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks' Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I haven't said that in the last little bit because I'm too busy putting on a show.
Ambassador to Japan will be George Glass. Is that your final decision?
Highly respected man. That's right. Highly respected. He's been an ambassador before. Did a fantastic job. We consider
speaks Japanese, I think.
Japan very important. He's very highly respected. Okay, couple of
He's very highly respected, which means I don't really know why he got the job, but we gave it to him again because I don't really give a shit. And I hear he speaks Japanese, and that's good enough for me. And if if he sucks, it's because other people recommended him. He came very highly recommended. I don't know what to tell you. Other people told me to hire him. It's their fucking fault, even though it was my decision.
Which other world leaders have you invited to the inauguration?
Just Putin, Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, Orban, Dr. Evil, the remaining members of the Pentaveret, a couple of people I met at an Illuminati chicken fucking party in Germany. Anybody who's got a membership, obviously up-to-date membership to the Bohemian Grove.
The
corpse of Mussolini. Yeah, Tim Pfizer.
And some
Are they
really
coming?
would like to meet. No, I mean, literally, they're calling me. And
yeah, they always call when somebody wins, dummy.
I'll be seeing some of them. I think it's rude not to. I mean, it's hard to say I'm not going to see you. And I've spoken to way over 100 where they call to congratulate on not only the election, but the size of the election, the extent of
You're like, wow, you're president again with only a 1.5% margin. Half the vote, the popular vote lead that Hillary Clinton had. She had double your popular vote lead. So that's got to suck. Are you okay? Probably they're just calling to see if you're okay.
Victory. And they were great. I mean, I spoke to over 100 countries. You wouldn't believe how many countries.
Did you? Just by... what, would you appear as a hologram like the Emperor in Star Wars?
There are.
I kind of would.
And I'm trying the best I can to get back to everybody, but there are a lot of countries, and every one of them, literally everyone called, and it was very nice.
That must be exhausting. Literally everyone called. 8 billion people.
So, yeah, I'd see some if some felt it was an emergency. I've seen, as you know, I've seen President Zelensky. He came to France while I was there for the cathedral opening.
The Keith Cathedral, I don't know if you know him. He's a big country star.
They actually had about 70 presidents and prime ministers, and in one case, a king.
A king. Do tell. From a fellow from a magic family. That's impressive. Did he like you? Did he say hello?
And we saw some great people. I also met with...
I saw a king. I saw France. I saw Lady Zondervan.
And I was very impressed by William.
Yes, because he's from a royal family, and that's fancy.
I think William is terrific. I was very...
Yeah, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't believe in magic families. Fuck you. We fought a war with that country, so we don't have to give a shit about royals ever. I'm not interested. I'm more interested in people who get elected by their people than people who belong to a magic family lineage. Shove off with this shit. 100%. Don't care. And I don't want to. I have no sympathy for Meghan Markle either. You marry into a magic family and go, I had no idea it would be just like this. Like, fuck off. Come on. Come on.
Impressed by William. As you know.
I don't care.
I met with him too.
Yeah, I don't care. Why would I care?
Are you just
President Trump, please question about that.
Did you invite Zelensky to the inauguration?
No, but...
I thought it would be a little tense with Putin sitting there, in my seat and me sitting on his lap. I just worry that they would trade glances and people would notice.
If you'd like to come, I'd like to have him. I mean, I didn't invite him, no.
Are you disappointed?
But I'm not disinviting him.
Are you disappointed that China's Xi won't be at the inauguration?
I don't know that he won't be at the inauguration.
He won't be at the inauguration.
I mean, I haven't really spoken to him
He's not going to be at the inauguration.
About it. I don't know that, actually. I would say...
He's not going to be at the inauguration. He might show up at a party days later. So he's not going to be.
Say that if he'd
That's fucking insane.
Like to come, I'd love to have him.
That's nuts. No.
But there's been no...
Why? Just so he can drop off some bugs in the White House like Lavrov did?
Much discussed. I have had discussions with him, letters, etc., etc.
Letters, yes. You write notes to each other.
Very high level.
Like you're fucking Tolstoy.
We had a very good relationship until COVID. COVID didn't end the relationship, but...
It didn't?
it was a bridge too far for me.
What? That he was completely lying that they had it under control, or that he made you look like an asshole, or that you believed him, or that he was wrong and you still bought it?
But if he'd like to come.
Yeah, I'll invite anybody who's single-handedly overseen the theft of at least $3 trillion in American intellectual property and continues to do it unabated. And if anybody tries to do anything about it, literally seeks to destroy their entire company. Yeah, of course he can come. Also, why in Bannon and all these motherfuckers who, who think that, Biden is, under Xi's thumb, this motherfucker invites him to the inauguration to D.C. to have private meetings with him at the beginning of his presidency. And they're like, yeah, whatever, it's what you do. It's just presidenting shit. I don't know.
Certainly. He hasn't, just so you understand, he hasn't said one way or the other. Because a lot of people say he won't come, he will come. People think
he's not coming.
He will come, he won't come. It's something we barely discussed, just about didn't discuss. But I have had, especially through letters, some very good conversations.
Really, conversational letters. They're, it's like the Notebook, but between two completely self-involved assholes.
Because China and the United States can together solve all of the problems of the world.
No, we fucking cannot. No, China and Europe, maybe. I mean, American Europe, but China and Russia and South Africa and maybe what's left of Brazil want to try and they've got their own solution, dummy.
If you think about it.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking no.
So it's very important. And, he was...
No, it's not. Not anymore. China's economy's in the shitter. It's ridiculous. Stop it.
Friend of mine, he was here for a long time, right in that spot, except sitting in a very comfortable chair. He wasn't standing like you are. But...
Really? You didn't have a long conversation standing with him? You guys didn't dance?
We spent hours and hours talking. And, he's an amazing guy.
He's an idiot, and you're easily manipulated.
The press hates when I say that, but he's an amazing person.
No, he isn't. He's a piece of shit. The only thing that's different between him and Kim Jong-un is that Kim Jong-un is more directly ruthless, and Xi Jinping outsources it like a businessman.
Anyone in Venezuela, sir?
Jesus.
On the border. If I could just ask you on the border. Hold on one second, Gary. Real quick.
United Healthcare shooting, the shooting of the CEO. Can you give us your thoughts about that? And what do you make of the reaction around the suspected shooter? Does that tell you anything about how
I think it's a terrible thing. I think it's really terrible that some people seem to admire him, like him. And I was happy to see that it wasn't specific to this gentleman that was killed. It's just an overall sickness as opposed to a specific sickness.
An overall sickness?
That was a terrible...
Really? You think that the bloodlust was abstract is better than... Oh, it's better than if they just hated this one fucking guy. That they were like fine with this guy being shot because it's a generalized hatred they have for the industry. That's not better, dummy. That means more of these things could happen. It's not going to end with this dude. That's bad. That's what makes it terrorism, stupid.
Terrible thing. It was cold-blooded, just a cold-blooded, horrible...
Cold-blooded thing?
Killing. And how people can like this guy is... that's a sickness, actually. That's really very bad. Especially the way it was done. It was so bad. Right in the back. And...
It would have been better if he shot him in the face?
Very bad. Thing like that, you can't believe that some people... And maybe it's fake news. I don't know. It's hard to believe that can even be thought of. But it seems that there's a...
What's fake news? The public likes it? Oh, you think the liberal media is concocting this whole 40% of people support the shooting or the shooter or that kind of shit? I think it's overplayed. But do you think they're intentionally crafting that idea? Just what, scare people?
Certain appetite for him. I don't get it. Yeah, please.
Could you just comment on...
Well, he's not your type, you mean? You prefer the Laura Trump type, or as I call her, Trans Ivanka.
want to expand on the defamation lawsuits. Could you see moving that to other people with individual platforms, social media influencers?
Yeah. Yeah. Come attack free speech. Knock yourself out.
People that
or newspapers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I think you have to do it because they're very dishonest. We need a great media. We need a fair media.
Hey, that's what I'm doing here, asshole.
We need, it's very important. And we need borders. We need walls. But we
Can you stick to one? Never
need borders. And we need fair elections.
Yeah, borders, walls, and borders, and fair elections. And we need to be able to sue newspapers if they say things about us that we don't like.
You look at California, millions and millions of ballots were sent out. They're still counting the vote in California with the machines. They're counting the vote. If you had paper ballots...
No, they're recounting.
Votes would have been counted 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks.
No. They would have been recounted in the same time period.
Weeks ago. No, you need fair elections, you need borders, and you need a fair press. And
good Lord.
The press is, no, I see others. I have a few others that I'm doing. I'm going to, as an example, we're bringing. I'm doing this not because I want to.
No, of course not.
I'm doing this because I feel I have an obligation to. I'm going.
Yeah, to your ego, which has been bruised horribly. The attacks on your ego are just incredible.
I'm going to be bringing one against the people in Iowa, their newspaper, which had a very, very good pollster who got me right all the time. And then just before the election, she said I was going to lose by 3 or 4 points, and it became the biggest story all over the world because I was going to win Iowa by 20 points. The farmers loved me, and I loved the farmers.
Well, wait till they hear what Vivek wants to do with the budget and the farm bill.
And it was interesting the way she did it. She brought it down 2 weeks before. She said I was going to only win by 4. That was a big story. But that was good because she brought it down from like 22 points to 4 or whatever the number was. Way up. An easy win. Never even thought to go there. I respect them. I love them. And they understand there's no reason to go there because she brought it from way up, walk away, which it was. And it turned out to be in the election, too, by the way. It was a win by many, many points. And then she brought it down very smartly to 4 a couple of weeks before. And everyone said, wow, that's amazing. He's only up by 4 points. Then she brought it down to where I was down by 3 or 4, whatever number she used. And that was the Des Moines Register.
So what?
And it was their parent. And in my opinion, it was fraud and it was election interference. You know, she's gotten me right always. She's a very good pollster. She knows what she was doing. And she then...
Good Lord. Can you imagine being this weak? I can't. I honestly can't imagine being this petty. It's fucking pathetic.
Quit before. And we'll probably be filing a major lawsuit against them today or tomorrow. We're filing one on 60 Minutes, you know about that, where they took Kamala's answer, which was a crazy answer, a horrible answer, and they took the whole answer out and they replaced it with something else she said later on in the interview, which wasn't a great answer, but it wasn't like the first one. The first was grossly incompetent. It was weird.
Again, this is so odd. They do this all the time. Dude, all right, then how about this? Can the American public do a class action lawsuit against the edit of your Epstein answer from the Fox and Friends interview? How about that? That you know, that Fox and Friends was engaged specifically in election interference because they cut the part out of after you went, would you release the Epstein files? Yeah. And then they cut it right there when in reality went, yeah, I think I would. Maybe not because there's a lot of phony stuff and you don't know what that is. And, you know, the JFK stuff for sure. But.
And that was fraud and election interference by the.
Then so was what Fox News did, only more egregious because it wasn't even done in a photo magazine style. This was supposed to be a direct interview.
Their news magazine, a big part of CBS News. So as you know, we're involved in that one. We're involved in one which has been going on for a while and very successfully against Bob Woodward, where he
should have released the tapes of you earlier.
Quote me properly from the tapes. And then on top of everything else, he sold...
Yeah, he should release all the tapes.
The tapes. which he wasn't allowed to do. He could only use them for reporting purposes, not for sale purposes.
He sells his reporting.
And he admits that. And I think we'll be successful on that one. And
good luck. I hope they're all posted online as part of the class action lawsuit. I think the evidence in that, because it's a civil trial, all of the recordings should be posted online as public evidence.
We have one very interestingly on Pulitzer, because reporters at the New York Times, Washington Post.
Jesus Christ. Imagine, is this what happens when you haven't seen your dick in 30 years? Is that what happens? When you're just there's too much in between me and it, I don't even know if it's still there. Is this where your brain goes? Is this a pathological response to not being able to find your dick?
Pulitzer Prizes for their wonderful, accurate, and highly professional reporting on the Russia hoax. Well, it turned out to be a hoax.
No, it didn't. And when I become president, after I run in 2028, one of the things that I will do immediately is declassify all the Mueller report grand jury testimony. And I'll post it online on an AI server that has been trained on it so that you can actually just ask it questions and it will play back sections of the testimony using voices of the people cribbed from their voices. That will be true of all, transcribed interviews previous that were not available, if the video isn't still there. So how about that? That's one of my things I'm going to run on in 2028. So I'm going to release all the grand jury transcriptions from the Mueller report.
And they were exactly wrong. People like many.
I will also personally, as President of the United States, go down to the FBI and go take me to the evidence room and show me the physical Hunter Biden laptop. Show me the physical laptop and then bring in your techs and have them explain to me how they determined that this is the actual unit brought to them by this repair guy and that it was actually Hunter Biden's, that the chain of custody on this physical thing, if it even exists in there at all, where it came from. I want to see it. Fucking have photographers follow me down to the building. I'll march down there myself. I don't have to weaponize the DOJ. I want to see it. What could possibly go wrong?
People, John Solomon, Sean Hannity's not for Pulitzer, but Sean Hannity got it right. Many people got it right.
No, he didn't. Talks out of his ass. He's lying. What you mean by got it right is they lied about it in a way that you like.
Tucker got it right. Jesse got it right. Laura got it right. Janine got it right. A lot of people got it right. They didn't get anything. They gave it to reporters that got it absolutely wrong. And now everybody admits it was a hoax.
No, they don't. No, they do not.
And I want them to take back the Pulitzer Prizes and pay big damages.
Not going to happen. Fuck you.
And I think we're doing very well on that one.
You're not. Piss off.
They have no excuse for it. They gave
It's ridiculous. Shut up.
a Pulitzer Prize to writers that got Russia wrong. And so I think we're doing well. And I feel I have to do this. I shouldn't really be the one to do it. It should have been the Justice Department or somebody else. But I have to.
No, these are personal lawsuits. The Justice Department has no responsibility to police speech at all.
Do it. It costs a lot of money to do it. But
boo fuckity who. You're super rich, right? You know billionaires. Borrow some from them.
We have to straighten out the press. Our press is very corrupt. Almost as corrupt as our elections.
Are you worried about Venezuela?
So you weren't lawfully and legally elected. So we have, so the press is that bad. We have bullshit elections. So your election was fraudulent. You shouldn't be president. Is that your argument?
Venezuela. Sir, if you had any discussions with Venezuela?
For January 6th defendants, you had said in the first few minutes of your administration you want to issue pardons for January 6th defendants. Does that include, will that be a blanket pardon? Does that include
Well, you'll find
everyone?
out, but it's going to go quickly.
Yeah, you'll find out. You'll find out. It's going to go quickly because I'm going to release all the ones that so they get back home so they can kill the relatives that turned them in. nothing like a few, belated Jan 6 murders for a few months. But you'll hear about it in the news. Not at all.
Have you had any discussion, sir, with in terms of your mass deportation plans? Have you had any preliminary discussions with countries like Venezuela, from where the Tren de Aragua gang is now popping up?
They'll take them back.
They're going to take them back.
They're all taking them back. Yep. And if they don't, they'll be met very harshly economically. Okay, they'll all take them back. Venezuela and other countries were not behaving very well with us during my administration, and within 24 hours they were behaving very well.
Again, bullshit.
They'll all take them back.
And separately, can I ask?
Nonsense. You just wanted to drop the fucking people off on a tarmac, and they're like, if you're going to do a prisoner transfer, we got to put them in prison. So just arrange it. Takes 72 hours. At least let us know the plane's coming in. Okay. Then by the weekend, they did it.
Follow up on
Jeff,
that?
nice to see you, Jeff. This is like the old days, right?
Nice to see you.
You look much better now than you did 4 years ago. What are you doing? What's he doing? All right, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. The first day you just mentioned that you're in office, I imagine you've got some executive orders that you want to go through. Can you tell us what
We'll have a lot. Well,
what are your priorities?
I bet you could say as well as I could. We will have many executive orders and other things that we'll be signing on the first day.
Yeah, a lot of Trump sneakers and Trump skateboards and Trump rectal tampons and Trump catheters, pre-lubed and not. The pre-lubed ones are very hard to sign with a Sharpie.
Question about the Middle East. You said that your conversation with Prime Minister Netanyahu was kind of a review. Did you repeat
We just had a very good conversation. And, the real conversations will start on the 20th. But we had a really good conversation, and I think we're going to be in a good place in the Middle East.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Again, for all those folks that are like, we need Trump in there because he'll be better for Gaza. What do you think this very good conversation that he had with Netanyahu? We know that Biden's sworn at him and hung up on him a couple of times, that they've limited weapons and all that kind of stuff. What do you think the conversation was that Trump had with him? Do you think it was like, I don't know, you got to watch out. You can't just kill civilians and stuff. I'm going to have to limit what weapons you use so that we can keep the blast radius low so you don't take out innocent civilians. Do you think any of that shit came up at all? Can you imagine the death and destruction that the fucking alleged progressives that signed on to this dickhead's agenda have unleashed on the people of Gaza and other places? Hey, there may well be a two-state solution now because it'll just be the West Bank. And Gaza will be just absorbed into Israel. And that's that. They're not going to let any Palestinians that have left back in. They're going to absorb some of them, maybe some of the families over into the West Bank, or just make them stay in Egypt or kick them out entirely because it's not safe and it'll be a security zone. And the idea that Trump was like, well, you got to watch out. You got to be careful. You got to take care of those civilians. You think any of that shit came up? You know why it was a good conversation? Man, you're kicking their ass right now, aren't you? Hey, keep at it, buddy. By the time I get in, you can just finish it up by the time I get in office, and it'll all be forgotten anyways. You guys will control half of Syria, and Gaza will be over, and I get to build the first building there. You give me the contract.
I think the Middle East...
Jared's going to call you next week for the rebuilding effort. Wink, wink. We'll make sure a lot of U.S. money goes straight into Jared Kushner's fucking pockets.
Will be in a good place. I think actually more difficult is going to be the Russia-Ukraine situation.
Really? I thought it was going to be done in 24 hours, you lying dirtbag.
See, that is more difficult.
Really? Yeah, because you can't... because the Gazans can't fight back anymore. That's just over. Hamas is gone. Yahweh Sinwar is dead. So and Iran's on its heels, and fucking Hezbollah is done in. IDF and the Houthis are now firing at each other, but the Houthis are going to get their ass handed to them. So you're on effectively what would be the Russian side in the circumstance, the overwhelming force. But the reason the Ukraine one is because you're going to ask the innocent victims to give up, and they're going to say, fuck you, as they should.
I don't think they should have allowed missiles to be shot 200 miles into Russia.
Really? How do you feel about Russian missiles flying from inside Russian territory into Ukraine then? What do you mean allowed?
I think that was a bad thing. And that brought the Koreans in, North Korea, another man I get along.
That's not what brought him in. What are you talking about? Now, you think the North Koreans went, oh shit, they're firing missiles into Russia? Well, that's a line too far. We're joining. He bought those soldiers.
With very well. I'm the only one that does. But that did a lot of bad things. I don't think that should have been allowed. Not when there's a possibility, and certainly not just weeks before I take over. Why would they do that without asking me what I thought? I wouldn't have had them do that. I think that was a big mistake they made.
Will you reverse that decision when you're in office to let those?
I might, yeah.
Missiles be?
I thought.
Yeah. So what? You look. If you're going to cut off the shit anyways, if you're threatening to cut off weaponry, what choice do they have? Right? If they think you're going to just undercut them, better to just fucking go for it. Like at a certain point, if you're like, I'm going to cut off all weapons and you guys are just going to have to take whatever runs, well, then fuck it. Then whatever we have left, we're firing at the Kremlin tonight. What do you want to say? Tough shit. It's all tactical. We're not firing any nukes.
It was a very stupid thing to do.
And when you say, do you have any reaction to one last process? When you say that there will...
By the way, the follow-up is, so you're okay with Russia firing missiles from well inside their country into Ukraine? That's okay. That should be allowed. Russia should be able to fire missiles from their own territory, not disputed territory, their own territory, well past Moscow, further into the country than Moscow. They should be able to fire long-range missiles into Ukraine from there, but the Ukrainians can't fire back. What the fuck is that? Do you even free market, bro?
Be held to pay if the hostages are not released before January 20th. What does that mean?
Well, they're going to have to determine what's happening.
No. Okay. He said all hell would break out, and all hell to pay, which is hell to pay or all hell's breaking loose. He mixed the two.
Means it won't be pleasant.
What do you think? It's a fucking rose garden there now, dum-dum? What do you think people are walking around in Gaza going, well, it's pleasant right now, but how long can it last?
Mr. President,
It's not going to be pleasant, yeah?
Yeah, keep flapping, tough guy. God damn, this is stupid.
How was your meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook, and did you talk about tariffs in that meeting?
Meeting with who?
Apple CEO Tim Cook.
I did have dinner with Tim Cook. I had dinner with sort of almost all of them, and the rest are coming. And this is...
Almost all of them. How many are there? What do you mean, all the tech companies in the country? Or you just mean the top 6, because you don't give a fuck about all the mid-level tech companies?
One of the big differences, I think, between... We were talking about it before. One of the big differences between the first term... In the first term, everybody was fighting me. In this term, everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know. My personality changed or something, but...
No, they know you're a dough-headed simpleton, and the best way through you is to placate your ego. You don't actually think, like, Rasputin actually thought that the Tsar was a smart guy, do you?
I had, as you know, I had Sundar from Google, but I also had Sergey. Nobody reported that. Sergey is the owner, the primary owner, along with his friend, as you know. And
yeah, Sergey and his friend, sure. I know, yeah, Sergey Google.
Sergey was here also.
Yeah, Sergey Google.
Can't believe you didn't pick that one up. Nobody picked that up. But I will tell you, no, it's a big difference. The big difference is that the first time everybody was fighting me on all fronts. And we had a great administration. We got the biggest tax cuts in history, rebuilt the military. Too much of it was given away to Afghanistan, stupidly given away, horribly given away. I think that's one of the reasons that Putin went in to Ukraine when he saw the stupidity of Milley and these guys.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
They're stupid people, very stupid people.
Why would that? And again, if that was his decision, it was a terrible one. He got fucked.
If they didn't do such a bad, we were pulling out of Afghanistan, but I would have pulled out with dignity and strength they wouldn't be having parades, I guarantee you, showing our equipment that they left behind, because we weren't going to leave any equipment behind. Not
again. So fucking what? They're like burned out trucks and dragging like helicopters that had thermite thrown into them.
10 cents. We were going to take every screw and every bolt.
Yeah, which wouldn't endanger our soldiers walking around with fucking magnets picking up every screw and every bolt as the Taliban stormed across the country, because well before we started to evacuate, you released 5,000 Taliban fighters and said, fill your boots, mate.
Yeah, the biggest difference is that people want to get along with me this time. Well, they've gone through 4 years, and, you know, it wasn't easy for me, but it wasn't easy for them either.
Yeah, it was. What are you talking about? Do you think billionaires, and especially tech billionaires, have had a bad 4 years? For real? You think they need help?
And that's a great thing, though. Getting along is a great thing. So Tim Cook was here. I think he's done an incredible job at Apple. And he talked to...
Yes, big tech. And again, both Google and Apple, like probably the most woke fucking companies on the planet by your standards.
About the future of Apple. It's going to be a bright future.
What do you think, what tech parts will take off? Do you think the baseline of Apple Intelligence is the thing? You think outsourcing part of the Apple Intelligence to ChatGPT was a way to go, or they should build an in-house AI over time that's, you know, a larger LLM that works with all their gear? And do you think the Apple ecosystem is going to extend to cars and TVs and stuff like that, or do you think that's a bridge too far? I'm curious.
We have many others also, and not in that business. And we do have Jeff Bezos.
Also not in that business.
Bezos, Amazon coming in sometime during the week. Look forward to that. We have a lot of great executives coming in. The top executives, the top bankers, they're all calling. And honestly, in the first time, I don't know what it was. It's like a complete opposite. In the first one, and the press has covered that fairly, actually, for change. The first one, they were very hostile. And maybe it was my fault, but I don't really think so. They were just right from the beginning. And this one is much less hostile. It's really the opposite of hostile.
Can I get your reaction?
The opposite of hostile. What would that be?
Sir, I know that you had some, I believe, involvement 18 years ago with the students at Duke accused of rape in the lacrosse. Now we have this development.
I thought it was a hoax when it happened, the Duke situation. I didn't believe the woman, as you know. And they destroyed the lives of these kids. They destroyed, and I don't care what they got. Their lives have been destroyed. Their lives have been shortened by what took place. And now the woman admitted that it never happened. That is horrible. And as you know, I took a lot of heat when I said that this is...
I didn't even hear the beginning of the whole question. I don't even know if this is directly related or he just ran off with this one.
This did not happen. And those kids were beautiful kids with beautiful families, and they were, in some cases, will never be the same. They will never be the same.
Again, yeah, they will if people are aware that they were unfairly charged.
Talk to them by chance?
Thoughts on the Postal Service? You mentioned Bezos a second ago, and I've always thought Bezos would be a key person to go in there and really streamline the logistics of the post office, but they lose billions.
Well, there is talk about the Postal Service being taken private. You do know that.
Mm-hmm. You don't say.
Not the worst idea I've ever heard. Really?
Yeah, it is, because it's actually, I think it's the only service in the Constitution. It is one of the worst ideas, and it doesn't lose money. It delivers a service to the taxpayer. It's shored up by the taxpayer. It's not self-sufficient. It doesn't pay for itself, but that doesn't mean it loses money, because it's not a money-making venture. It's there it's like the roads. If you had a person who had to drive and repave the roads every day, the way you have to have somebody drop off the fucking mail every day, there's no way the roads would pay for themselves just in traffic and that, you know, having to be redone. It would be all the other traffic that drives over them that makes them worthwhile.
Isn't. You know, it's a lot different today with between Amazon and UPS and FedEx and all the things that you didn't have. But there is.
Right. We have some public, and then you have private. The public is the baseline, and it guarantees an availability for everybody. And then the private is an extension of that. If you want to pay for better service, you can do that, but you're not left without service if you can't pay for it.
Let's talk about that.
It's already like, dude. Again, we're entering in a modern age where less and less mail goes through there, and more packages go through other stuff. And Amazon lives on top of the cheapness of the UPS, the postal service. If anything, they have been kept afloat. Same thing with Alibaba and all these drop shipping groups live off these like trade deals that allow them to use the postal service. The reason the postal service loses so much fucking money is that anything shipped in from China, for example, because of their favored nation status and because of economic treaties we've made with them over the years, is they don't pay any shipping really. They get free shipping into the country just to grease the wheels of this stuff so they can ship fucking anything. You and I, if we sent the same package across the states, it would cost us real money in a post office. Doesn't cost them anything. It's an automatic part of, it's basically the unheard of or the unchecked billions on top of whatever trade deficit we have with them, which is way more meaningful than the fact that people get stuff wholesale made in China and then have it shipped here and sell it as their own proprietary product.
An idea that a lot of people have liked for a long time. We're looking at it. I think we're looking at that a lot.
Yeah, of course you are. You're going to privatize that and Social Security, and you're looking at all of it. Absolutely. Just you think there's a mandate and you think you're going to run away with it, and then everybody's going to fight you in the spring, and they're going to go, dude, you only got a 1.5% difference, and you got fewer fucking. You had a lower margin in the popular vote than Hillary Clinton did. She beat you by 3 million votes.
Along with a lot of any questions for Howard, by the way? Commerce.
Sure, I'll ask one.
Howard Commerce.
Incoming Secretary.
Lucky that's his name.
Do you see another trade deal with China coming?
I think the president.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, it's easy for me. You're sitting next to me, so it's okay. No, the president has very clear agenda for tariffs, and I think reciprocity is something that is going to be a key topic for us. How you treat us is how you should expect to be.
No, then there's not going to be a trade deal. Nobody would sign on to a bunch of tariffs, and like you're just going to have a stalemate on tariffs is the idea.
Sir, on that? You said it so well. Reciprocal. If they tax us, we tax them the same amount. They tax us. Forgetting just for a second about the word tax. They tax us, we tax them, and they tax us. Almost in all cases, they're taxing us, and we haven't been taxing them.
Is that deal already underway? Is there a deal already underway with respect to that?
Let's just say this. We're going to make great deals.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, of course. Yeah. If you don't believe me, ask Howard Commerce over here.
And we have all the cards.
He knows Jerry Pfizer really well. They're like this.
And until I came along, don't forget, and Howard was going...
I'm glad he moved off the mic, don't you? Aren't you? Are you happy that he put Howard in front of the mic? So, like, it's the worst ventriloquism show I've ever seen in my life.
Over the numbers with me last night, we took in $600 billion and more in taxes and tariffs from China. No other president took in 10 cents, not 10 cents.
Also, so fucking weird. Like, Obama had tariffs. A bunch of other countries had tariffs.
10 cents.
And Tencent is a company. The reason he thinks this, and Howard Commerce knows this, is that he doesn't understand that Tencent is a company.
No, well, we're going to be doing things.
And the U.S. has never taxed Tencent because largely it's a digital platform company, but it does a lot of digital trade, and it's involved in everything from like overseas crypto. It doesn't do it inside China, but outside it does, outside the country it does, in video games and entertainment and so there's like they go after it, but it doesn't amount to shit.
We're going to be treating people very fairly, but the word reciprocal is important because if somebody charges us, India, we don't have to talk about own. If India charges us 100%, that we charge them nothing for the same, they send in a bicycle and we send them a bicycle.
Yeah, we're big on selling bicycles to India.
They charge us 100 and 200. India charges a lot. Brazil charges a lot.
Yeah, those Brazilian bicycles. Fuck, man.
If they want to charge us, that's fine, but we're going to charge them the same thing. That's a big
worried
thing.
about
and you know what? The senators, some of them aren't necessarily business people. When I give that to them, they say, that sounds fair to me.
Yeah, because they're not business people. They're not going to be fucked by this. They just suck up to you.
Are you concerned that tariffs might hurt the stock market rise that you have seen and the economy more broadly?
Make our country rich. Tariffs will make our country rich.
But won't they raise prices?
Properly used. I didn't have any inflation, and I had massive tariffs on a lot of things. We put tariffs on...
Yeah, because you bailed out the fucking farmers. You paid them with taxpayer money so that they wouldn't pass the cost of those tariffs on to their customers. We subsidized them. That's what that is. The cost of because of his trade war with China, for example, where he drove up the tariffs and we weren't selling to them, and there was that back and forth, because it was like 100% for 100%. Well, our guys couldn't sell to China anymore because they said, fuck you. And so the price of food went up. But you paid the farmers to keep producing. It's so lame. You filled in the gap with taxpayer money. That's why it didn't show up on the shelf price.
Steel. If I didn't put tariffs on steel, 50% and more, they were dumping steel in, China and others. I put tariffs on and it stopped, and we took a fortune. We made a fortune on it. Tariffs, properly used, which we will do.
Also, Trump Tower is made with Chinese steel, and this is let's see, sorry, open link, new tab. The Obama administration's unprecedented trade enforcement record. There we go. Under President Obama, Made in America exports hit record-breaking levels for the last 5 consecutive years, and those exports now support an all-time high of 11.7 million well-paying jobs across the country. Now, to unlock a greater economic opportunity for American exporters, President Obama's middle-class economic strategy is prioritize increasing U.S. exports through smart, cutting-edge trade agreements, 21st century, blah, blah, blah. Okay, highlights of this. Since Obama has inaugurated 2020, the United States has filed 20 enforcement complaints with the World Trade Organization. That's more than any other World Trade Organization member. Won every single one of those disputes. Let's see, enforcement worth, export figures industry data. For example, one significant case is that affect aircraft, $18 billion in illegal European Union subsidies, autos and SUVs, illegal Chinese taxes over $5 billion annual U.S. exports, and illegal Chinese taxes on exports worth $250 million annually. Agriculture, India's illegal ban on U.S. poultry, clean energy technologies, exports, blah, blah, blah. Where's the tariff one? But here, oh, well, shit. Here we go. Let's see if this one comes up even. Page not found. Look at that. They got rid of it. In fact, let's see. Yeah. So this is yeah. Here you go. This is 2020. Steel tariffs hurt manufacturers downstream, so it helps the steel industry, but anybody who uses steel gets fucked because there are 8 jobs that use steel for every single job in the steel making industry. Steel tariffs imposed under national security provisions of the Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 have now been in place for nearly 2 years. The 25% tariff on steel products was first imposed in March of 2018 in response to the recommendations of the U.S. Department of Commerce. Canada, Mexico, and the European Union were exempted from the tariffs until the end of May 2018, and the U.S. reached a deal with Canada and Mexico to remove the tariffs in May 2019. South Korea, Australia, Argentina, and Brazil were granted permanent exemptions to the tariffs until December 2019, when the administration threatened to reinstate steel tariffs against Brazil and Argentina. Additional Section 232 tariffs that cover derivative products made of steel and aluminum are slated to take effect in days. This is back in 2019, I think, is when this, or 2020 when this article was written. Steel tariffs were put in place to increase demand for domestic steel, but their impact on employment in steel-producing industries has been muted. The latest data on the number of jobs in production of new steel, which shows roughly 1,000 more jobs in November 2019 than in March 2018 when the tariffs were implemented. The tariffs may have led to this increase in steel jobs, as well as prevented some additional steel jobs from disappearing during the recent thing. Even should demand for steel strengthen, however, the effect on employment in steel production is likely to be muted by technological innovation. Technological processes plays an important role in displacing workers in steel production, similar to many areas of manufacturing. Higher domestic steel and aluminum prices have adversely affected other U.S. manufacturing industries that depend on steel as an input to production. About half of the administration's 25% tariff on steel passed through U.S. domestic prices of steel, according to passed on U.S. domestic price of steel by researchers from Columbia. Let's see, the Federal Reserve Bank in New York and Princeton. This increase in the cost of steel in the U.S. puts U.S. exporters at a disadvantage as they compete against foreign rivals who pay a lower price for steel in the global market when buying materials for production. Indeed, increased costs of inputs into production due to U.S. tariffs, including steel, is associated with lower growth in export sales for U.S. firms, including recent research by economists. The idea is that anybody that uses steel to make something got hit by this, where you got 1,000 steel jobs out of it, and you lost 6,000 other jobs because of it in other industry.
Being reciprocal with other nations, but it'll make our country rich. Our country right now loses to everybody.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's like saying stores lose to everybody because their wholesale to their wholesale supplier, sells more to them than they sell to their wholesale supplier. Like they sell to customers, and then the wholesale supplier gets, a bigger chunk than any of their customers exchange with them individually. It's because they have thousands of customers and one wholesale supplier or two.
Nobody do we have a surplus with. There are a couple of countries, and they're embarrassed by it, but almost nobody. And tariffs will make. I always said, to me, tariffs the most beautiful word in the dictionary.
So stupid. This whole fucking argument.
It'll make our country rich. You go back and look at the 1890s.
I just loved it the last 5 minutes of this fucking thing, and thank you guys for sticking around with me. I know I went long tonight, but I feel like we finally covered all of this, and it kind of defangs this moron if you watch all of his shit. But that he spends the last 10 minutes of this thing with somebody else standing in front of the mic listening to him talk to the side. Would you like to stand in front of the microphone while I blather off mic? It's brilliant. Just
1880s, McKinley, and you take a look at tariffs. That was when we were at our proportionately the rich.
Proportionately. No, we were not. Nobody yearns for the lifestyle of the 1890s.
Did you get to a good spot? Back on Ukraine, Mr. President. What should Zelensky, if anything, be prepared to give up to end this war?
He should be prepared to make a deal. That's all. You got to be a deal. No, got to be a deal. Too many people being killed. That is a war. That's too many people. Got to make a deal.
Sorry, why? What's the number? What's the price of freedom? Apparently, he thinks you got to be able to make a deal. I don't care how many people you've lost. They died in vain. Fuck it. You got to be able to make a deal. You have to give the land that Russia took, and all the people that died trying to take it back were doing it in vain. Fuck them. That's what he's saying.
And Putin has to make a deal. What deal? Putin has to make a deal, and Putin would have never gone in if I was president. If I was president, we wouldn't have had inflation.
Again, fucking gibberish. Who gives a shit? It's a lie anyways, but what the fuck does that even mean? Did Putin tell you this? Did Putin say to you, if you were president, I would have never gone in. I was scared of you.
Our oil prices would have been lower. I had a good relationship with Putin. He would, despite the Russia hoax, which made it more difficult. If we had that election, if it were an honorable election,
oh
we
my
wouldn't
fucking
have had
God.
any of the problems that we're talking about right now. Putin would
Horseshit. He just would have let him take Kyiv.
never got it.
You wouldn't have had any of the problems because Russia wouldn't have had to fight all this time. They would have been successful in 3 to 6 days because the U.S. and our allies wouldn't have been marshaled to protect them.
You said that you could make that deal before you take office. You still think you can make that deal?
I'm going to try.
I'm going to try. Yeah, that's what you said on the campaign trail. I remember him saying really loudly, I'm going to try. It's going to be tough, but they got to make a deal because a lot of people are being killed. But so far, it's complicated. I don't know if we'll be able to do it. Yeah, it was one of his best speeches.
Will you ask Putin to give up Assad?
Well, I hadn't thought of it. I think we have to get on with our lives.
Yeah, no, let him keep Assad. We don't need to go after Assad. So what if he's got mass graves full of 100,000 fucking people in different sites all over the place? I mean, it's water under the bridge.
See what happens. But right now, Syria has a lot of, there's a lot of indefinites. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Syria. But
yeah, maybe he'll be back in charge if Russia gets its way.
I think Turkey is going to hold the key to Syria, actually. I don't think you've heard that from anybody else, but I've been pretty good at predicting. I want to thank you all, and we're going to make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alex.
And we go into the room full of sycophants. Is it one of his Chinese handlers? Who was in the room? That was weird. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate it greatly. Hit that like, share the show, etc., etc. It'll be hard to carve this up, so it's probably just a big run. We'll try. Maybe we'll chapterize it in segments and put out a couple of clips. That would be the thing. But in the meantime, like all that stuff, and I will see you guys on Saturday because tomorrow's a travel day. I'll post some shorts tomorrow while I'm on the road, so keep an eye out for those. And subscribe and just to subscribe, will you? For God's sake, for God darn. Okay, I'm off. I still gotta pack, for God's sakes.